Good afternoon, everyone, and lovely to have your company with us today. We are here at the Ward Stormont for part 2 of Super Tuesday in the IP20 trophy. We've already had a game this morning, albeit a little bit truncated, between the Warriors and the Reds. I'm sure we'll get to that in a moment. But this is the big game in the competition today between the top two. We have the Northern Knights, the home side, against the league leading Leinster Lightning. 20 points currently for the Lightning, 12 for the Knights, so the importance of the game is there for all to see. This is game 12, so only 6 more games left in this tournament, so if the Lightning were to win today, it would certainly put them well on course to lift the IP trophy. But the Knights will be looking to close the gap on the Lightning. Probably hear the wind has just got up here today, and there was a little bit of weather around in Oak Hill this morning, which led to a 5-over game in the end. And as I say, we'll get to that in a few moments, but the weather just looks okay at the minute. To be fair, the blue skies above, but the wind is just getting up and it's a little bit chilly. I am absolutely delighted to have ex-Irish international and current Super Series coach of the Dragons, James Cameron Dow, beside me. Jimmy, just the wind has got up there in the last couple of minutes as the players have come out.
Good afternoon, Ali, and it certainly has. It's not very pleasant. It's an open field. You can just hear everything. You can see the wind come flying through here. But rather the wind than the rain, I suppose. Yeah, so,
given that poor conditions at Oak Hill this morning, definitely, I think we're going to be okay today. I'll stick my reputation on that. So, as you can see on the screen there, the Lightning have won the toss. James McCullum with another lost toss. I think that's 4 in a row for James. And quite surprisingly, we'll maybe get into it in a minute, but the Lightning have decided to bat first, which is a change from what we've seen for most of the season so far. So they've decided to bat first. Swapna Mudgill is going to be on strike to Ruan Pretorius. A little bit wide on the off stump there. So, yeah, just batting first. It's a change from what we've seen so far this year. Jimmy, just what do you think about that? I was a little bit surprised.
Yeah, I think as we were talking about off air, the Leinster Lightning have picked quite a few spinners. They got 3 spinners in their attack, and I think they're probably thinking runs on the board early on, and then try and defend with spin later, and hopefully as the game goes on for them, they'll spin more and more. They probably also looked at the last week and possibly even the Northwest game when they came out to Stormont, as Pretorius runs away from us here.
Going for a quick single. Matthew Humphries picks up, throws at the striker's end. I might have nipped James McCullum there. He seems to have picked that one up off the pinky. But yeah, I spoke to Sam Harbinson at the toss, and he basically said just what you have said, that they've picked 3 spinners today. They've got 3 seamers in the lineup with Delaney, Harbinson himself, and Fionn Hand comes back in today, which is a big bonus for the Lightning. But 3 spinners then: Lewis, Hoey, and Amish Sidhu. So they'll look to use that spin later on, I suppose. But as I say, it's just been a little bit different. Winning the toss and batting first. Pretorius in, bowls nice line to the man in form, Tim Tector.
Yeah, it is a little bit different. And I suppose, as I say, probably looking at previous games here, and there's also a feeling around Stormont. I think it is quite difficult, can be quite difficult to chase. It can be quite a big field, you know, you've got a couple big pockets, etc. There's not a lightning fast outfield. And as a result, maybe they're thinking once again, you know, a bit of purchase on the wicket. We can try and squeeze and defend later on and take the night spinners out of play also.
Just flicked round the corner, straight to Matthew Foster, but that's poor piece of cricket, Matthew Foster there, and that's not great either. 2 balls thrown straight over the top of the keeper, so it should have been a dot ball. Ends up getting Tim Tector off the mark. Yeah, James McCullum actually said when I spoke to him that they probably would have bowled first. And as I say, we've seen that over the past few weeks, but the Knights have defended well in the IP50, setting 240, 250, and then really just squeezing early on. So possibly that change may come to fruition. That's hit out into the offside, And that's a lovely shot, really well timed. The man on the boundary, Kate Carmichael out there, even though he's only got 5-6 yards to go to his right. Really well timed from Mudgill there. And that gets the first boundary of today.
It is a lovely shot. Remember, Pretorius, very skillful opening bowler, but the one thing he probably doesn't have that other people in this matchup do have is that little bit of extra pace. So relatively easy to use the feet to him, and that's exactly what Mudgill does there. And it's a beautiful shot using the wind and the quicker outfield towards the roadside there as he knocks the next one. Pretorius makes sure he goes nice and straight there, and he just knocks the next one into the leg side for a single.
Yeah, first over completed, 7 without loss. It is something that you mentioned there that, you know, Pretorius has opened the bowling in the T20 and indeed the IP50, and is a really good point that nobody's really used the feet to come down and change his length. So especially in the IP50, he's been able to bowl just up and down, line and length, and then use Matthew Foster at the other end, who's wicket taken, and they've been a good partnership. But just saw on that first over there, Mudgill comes down the track, just puts off the length a little bit, and was able to hit that one through the covers for 4.
Yeah, and I think you'll probably see Sam Topping won't hesitate to come up to the stumps if that continues. It obviously means Pretorius can't do anything too short, can't pull his length back too much, because you don't want to bowl one up around the nose with the keeper up to the stumps. But I think Topping will probably look to try and come up if Mudgill continues that. Obviously not for Foster though, as he's running down towards us. A little bit of extra pace, bit of extra bounce.
Saying that one's a bit of a loosener, I hope. It's not the sign of the pitch is a bit dead. Just looked a bit of a slower sort of get the arm over just from Matthew Foster. But you know, we've mentioned a few times over the past few weeks he's been pretty sensational, especially in the IP50 from that city end. Almost unplayable at times. Let's just see if he can get this one through to the keeper. Second ball. Yeah, that's a nice ball. That's a stock ball, just nipping back into the right-hander.
Yeah, that first delivery, got to be a little bit concerned with that, even if it was a loosener. Didn't really get much higher than bail height, probably just over the stumps height-wise. Bounced once before, reached the keeper, Sam Topping. Not really an ideal start there from a pitch perspective. Could see a couple batters out in the outfield having a chuckle to themselves.
He's got that through the gap. Hasn't really timed. So Tom Mays is after it. And should pull it in. And just about does. That little fumble means that they get back for 3. So 3 more to Mudgill. He moves on to 9.
He does, and that possibly suggests once again, Ali, that there's not a massive amount of pace. I know they've only bowled 9 balls here, so maybe we jump in the gun a little bit, but he's got back and across and he's whacked that between extra cover and mid-off, not out to the sweeper on the offside, which suggests that there's not a massive amount of pace there, and he's able to hit it in front of square instead of use the pace and look squarer. So interesting to see how the next few go, as that's exactly what I'm talking about. Tim Tector just leans on that one, uses the pace and hits it out to the backward point sweeper. And hopefully that's a sign of more things to come and a bit more pace in the wicket.
Well, that's obviously what James McCullum and the bowler are thinking, that in that field placing they've got Pretorius very square. So that second ball there, that one was just for a single. That's kind of what they're looking at. And similar again, Mudgill coming down track a little bit on that occasion. Yeah, you'd like to see how we're out. I had a quick look at the wicket just prior to the game. It does look a little bit drier than last week, as you would expect. It's been good weather over the weekend here in the Belfast area, so good drying over the weekend, and it does look a little bit harder than last time out. That's short, pulled, but not timed. Protector. I'll close out the over. 5 from it. And the Lightning move on to 12 without loss.
Yeah, pretty cautious start from both teams. Not too over-attacking from Leinster Lightning, not too over-attacking from the Northern Knights. I think both teams will be relatively happy with 12 without loss after 2. Still just trying to figure out exactly what conditions are on offer today and exactly how things are going to play out. And
yeah, I think if you're looking at boxing match, a couple of jabs in the first couple of rounds there,
yeah,
nothing too heavy really to start with. The Lightning, you think maybe just have to be a little bit careful of that, because obviously we're in the power play. They have been renowned so far in this IP20 trophy of going really hard in that power play. I think they're averaging up in the 50-60. So that's been their sort of game plan, especially from Tim Tector. He's had a terrific season so far, both with the Lightning and his club side. I think he's got 200s in the last 4 or 5 days. First of all for the MCC, that's the university side, and then his club side Pembroke. He scored 100 at the weekend again against Clontarf. And he's top runner scorer in this IPT20 trophy, so he's banging form. And you see the keeper straight away. You were right, James. Straight up to the stumps.
yeah, I think that's the right call by Sam Topping. Didn't take him long at all there. Modgill looking really to be proactive, move himself around the crease, etc. And I think he just put doubt in the batter's mind there. He can't move out of his crease. He can move across, he can give himself room, but he can no longer move out of his crease, and if he does, he's risking that wicket straight away. We've also noticed there that there's no slip in place anymore either from the first ball of this over, which suggests that the Knights don't feel there's that zip in the wicket as there was last week. A little bit slower. That possibly even looked like an off-cutter from Ruin Pretorius, so I think the Knights possibly accepting, well, acknowledging the fact, not accepting, acknowledging the fact that there might not be the same sort of zip in this wicket. And as you say, it did look a little bit dry. Maybe that's exactly why Leinster Lightning looked to have a bat first.
Yep. Difficult to time the ball at the moment. Only that one real well-timed shot from Modgill as he came down the wicket. This occasion he tries to go over the top, and that is the result of possibly even the keeper coming up to the stumps. He's just kept him in the crease, whereas previous to that he would have been coming down and probably meeting that on the half volley. Keeps him back in the crease, and Pretorius beats the drive, and the first wicket falls. Ryan Pretorius bowls Modgill for 11.
Yeah, that's good cricket by the Northern Knights, both being reactive to the situation, watching Modgill move around his crease. Sam Topping coming up to the stumps there, taking that option away from him. But also the field settings. If you look at Tim Tector when he's on strike, long off straight away back to the boundary. As we see Pretorius looking like that's just angled back in, hit the top of middle and leg, and absolute beauty. But yeah, just with Tim Tector on strike, long off spin back, and only the cover sweeper and no one back on the leg side, whereas with Modgill he had 2 out square. Obviously felt that's his strength, and we saw in the last over he walked down, played a beautiful shot through the covers, this time trying to force it into an area that maybe he's not comfortable with, and that's forced the dismissal.
Yeah, really good plans from the Knights. They obviously looked at it and picked their batters. As you said, the good thing about that was the reaction that they had. It wasn't just, well, we've got plan A, seen somebody coming down the wicket to us, let's change immediately. They didn't wait, and they changed it up with the keeper coming up. So Monil Patel has just been drafted in over the last day or so. Wasn't in the original squad, but Adam Rossley has fallen with a bit of illness and he's had to pull out, so Monil Patel pulled into the Leinster squad, and he's in it. First drop here, Leinster batter. And a good start from Pretorius, right on the money. A half-hearted appeal. And Patel on debut, so it doesn't matter what level of cricket you play at. You're in your first game for a new team. Always a little bit nervous.
Definitely, Ali, and again they're just coming back into him. That'll definitely encourage Pretorius. You could just see the head of Patel just slightly fall over that, and he'll be looking to do the exact same thing. Probably not, a little bit too short there, didn't quite execute what I'm assuming he would have been trying to do, which was land the ball on and around that off fourth stump and bring it back in off the seam. But once again, a dot ball to finish the over, and that's a really good over, and all of a sudden the momentum shifts to the Northern Knights, and I think they'll be the happier after 3 overs.
Yeah, very much so. As you mentioned, momentum and power plays and things like that. It's only 6 overs where there's a power play, and one good over either way can really just boost the score or just drag it back. And we've mentioned a couple of little jabs in the first 2 overs, but certainly the first real punch has been laid by Pretorius. Takes a wicket and only 2 runs. Matthew Foster to continue from the city end detector. Well, that's a lovely ball. That's the line and length. Just doing a little bit off the wicket. Squares Tector up.
Interesting there, Matthew Foster just suggesting to his captain he doesn't feel like slips in play. Maybe a catcher in front of the wicket, and I think again that says a lot about the pace and the nature of the wicket. Probably a little bit sort of tennis ball-y, sticking in the wicket a touch. In fact, it's not even a catcher in front of the wicket, it's just an extra cover. So they feel as though the fielders in front of the wicket are clearly going to be more in the game.
Yeah, and again, we can see there, there's no time, and that was, it looked from this angle that was a bit of a hit-me ball outside the off stump, but Tector hasn't really been able to time the ball early, which, as I say, has been really extraordinary this season, because he's been timing the ball really well from the off in the IP20 trophy particularly. As I mentioned, top runs last year with 198. He has more than that already. That takes him to 202 already this year. Plenty of games to go, so he's banging form. That's nicely played. That's on the back foot. Let that come to him. And timed it through the leg side again in front of square. Again, another suggestion that not a great deal of pace in the track. And that will make Patel feel a little bit better.
Yeah, it's a bit of a drag down by Matthew Foster there. Wasn't really the line or length he would have been looking for. If you want to try and go short, you obviously want to be in and around the batter's left armpit or ear, and he was a little bit wide and not high enough there and put away nicely.
Super comeback. A terrific piece of fielding there from Jason van der Merwe. He's a short third man. If that beats him, that's a boundary. He saved 4 there. He's come into the team today. Jason van der Merwe wearing 68. A little bit of hesitation, but there's no issue there. An easy run. I always like that when there's a hesitation, and then when you make your run, the non-striker just thumbs up. We wouldn't have been given thumbs up if we had it run out, but it's okay when you get there.
Yeah, that's always a little bit of a relief when you slide the bat in and you know that you're all good to go there. I think again Foster possibly a little bit too short there again this time. A little bit straighter, so Patel not able to get the arms through the ball. I think he needs to be challenging the top of the off stump a little bit as we see the field change and the deep cover comes up for Tim Tector. The 2 fielders out on the leg side, with one of them's going to come into action straight away here. However, unfortunately for Matthew Foster, it looks like he's overstepped the mark there. And that's certainly not what you want as a bowler or a fielding side, but exactly what Patel will be looking for. He's got himself off the mark with a couple singles and a boundary, and now he's got a free hit to take advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. You won't be giving away extras anyway, but certainly this free hit now. Where's Patel going here? Steps across his crease, goes leg side. Has he got enough of it? I think he has. Yeah, he has. Be a maximum. And that'll take him into double figures. An expensive end to that over from Foster. The no ball. And then the first maximum. That's the definition of a free hit there.
Yeah, I think Foster will also be a little bit disappointed in that. I'm not entirely sure that was the right option and right plan. There's a strong wind blowing towards the leg side boundary. and he's bowled an off-cutter into the wicket. Realistically, Patel only needed to get half a bat on that, and the wind would have done the rest. So I think his better option would have been try and hide the ball wide outside off stump and get him to hit the ball into the wind. But unfortunately, that's not what he's done. And as you say, Ali, it's quite an expensive over. And first punch thrown by the Knights in the Pretorius over, second punch thrown by Leinster Lightning.
Pretorius continuing. Wide on the off stump. He gets away with that a little bit. Mistimed again from Tector. Bit of a theme here so far in the first 4 overs. Yet to really time a ball. Tim Tector seems a little bit early on his shots. Ringfield on the offside. It's dragged into the leg side. Bit of work to do for Kane Robertson. Comes around, is he going to make it? He isn't. Possibly a little bit fortunate there for Tector. A bit of an under edge, but with the offside field we've just been discussing, not too many fielders out on that leg side. Wrong chase for Robertson, which was unsuccessful.
Yeah, it's a difficult field to bowl to be honest, Ali. With no protection on the offside bar long off, you've got to be very straight. But with the only 3 fielders on the leg side, or the only man on the boundary in front of square.
And this time it's in front of square. That's a much more convincing shot. Same result though in the book. It's back-to-back boundaries for Tim Tector.
Yeah, I'm not sure Rowan, as I was saying there, I'm not sure Rowan's got his plan right here. He's got a very, very difficult field to bowl to. He's got the 6-3 offside field, which means he's got to be bowling outside off, yet he's got no protection outside off. So change in plan there now. He's got the 2 men out, mid-off comes up into the ring, he's got the 2 men out on the leg side, and James McCollum, who was at extra cover, moves across, so he's got the extra protection on the leg side. Unfortunately, he'll feel a little bit under the pump now after 2 of the first 3 balls going to the boundary.
I was just going to say, would it be the double ball 1 wide outside the off and get carved through the offside? Could have been, but mistimed again. Gets away with that one for a dot ball, but yeah, 2 boundaries in the over. And here we are up to 35 for 1 now as we approach the end of the 5th. A bit of a fight back here from the Lightning after they lost that wicket. The previous Pretorius over. It's short, but he does have the protection now. On a push for 2. I'm going to call him through. It's good running. Good running there from Patel. He was the one going to the danger end. He spotted the potential there. That was up and down pretty quickly, so 2 more to the total. But there's the comeback from Ryan Pretorius. Well, he's been hit for 2 boundaries and a 2. 10 runs off the over so far, but he wins the battle. It's very similar dismissal that he had earlier from Mudgill. Just tight to Tim Tector, possibly just nipping back through the gate again. But as I say, Pretorius wins the battle, and Tim Tector has to go for 15.
Yeah, that looked like a really good ball as we just watched the replay there. I was just about to ask you, Hallie, how many times have the Northern Knights hit the top of the stumps here? As you can see, that once again just nips back beautifully by Pretorius and hits the top of the leg stump. You can't help but feel the Northern Knights' lengths haven't quite been right here. They've been quite short. They've gone into the wicket quite a bit. Allowed the Leinster Lightning to play quite a few pull shots, look square of the wicket. I do understand, obviously, the field they're setting, that's probably the plan that they're trying to go to with the deep square and the deep backward point. I just think for the seamers, if you hit the top of the stumps here, certainly looks like there's a little bit of nibble about, and that's probably the area that they should want to be more often than not.
Well, for sure, I think looking at those 5 overs, the evidence is in front of you. The 2 wicket-taking deliveries have pitched on or just outside the off stump and nipped back to take out of the middle, or on that occasion the leg stump. So it is doing a little bit off the length. And I do think if you were bowling that length consistently, it might have been a little bit more difficult, but still 5 overs down, 38 for 2. The Lightning have not got away. And 2 wickets down, 2 big wickets for Pretorius. And in the last over of the power play, they're going to turn to Matthew Humphreys. It's Pretorius who has come to the crease. He'll be at the non-striker's end at the minute. Left-hander. Left and right-hander now for the Lightning. And that'll help with the spinner coming on. Ringfield on the offside. Montiel faces Humphreys, and that's a nice start from Matty Humphreys. Obviously, he and Cian Robertson bowled really well in the IP20 game here last week. And they could be key here in these middle overs, as it were, as the over the power play. But from 6 onwards, you would think it could well be Humphreys and Robertson coming on for a bit.
Yeah, I think he will be key, and as you say, good start there, and straight away the field changed, a little bit of spin on offer. Recognises going over deep end wickets a more difficult shot than down the ground. Slight change, and that's popped up, and it's put down at cover point by Ruan Pretorius, and that was, I can't help but say, an absolute dolly alley.
Well, you can just look at Ruan Pretorius right now, and he's got the cap over his not on his head, over his face. He's sort of covering up. That was about as easy as a chance as you're ever going to see. And in a way, a good sign for the Knights in that the chance is created, but right in front of us here, Pretorius is kicking the turf, and one of those ones that you just want to get the ground opening up. He's heading out to the boundary now, and he'll be thinking about that for a bit, because that was a dolly.
That was, but what a start from Humphreys. Yeah, he's causing trouble from the get-go.
A bit straighter.
Slightly too full then. You have to say it's a very good shot though by Patel. He just opens up, goes with the spin through extra cover along the ground. Safe option, and a lovely cricket shot, and that forces the field change, which, well, the change was made the ball before that, and we've gone back to the long off back and the cover sweeper up in the ring. Lovely cricket shot.
Yeah, I said it was a little bit straighter, and it was, but Patel had moved wide there and managed to break his wrists and play it along the ground into the offside with the spin. That's a straighter line, that's a beauty. Take that all day long. Humphreys beats the defensive shot. Don't see too many of those in T20 cricket, but he gave respect to the delivery, and it still beat him on the off stump.
Yeah, that's definitely the length that Humphreys is looking to bowl. Trying to sort of catch the shoulder of the bat.
Yeah, that's a really good over. Really good over from Humphreys. Should have had a wicket in that over. Was hit for 4, but it was more of a good shot rather than a poor delivery. And the other 5 dots were right on the money. That was the boundary off the over. But the other 5 deliveries really encouraging from Matthew Humphreys there. That's the end of the power play. And you can see a bit of turn up into the air, and Pretorius really should be taking that. He'll know it better than anybody. And the unfortunate thing is he comes out of the attack now, because if he had the ball in his hand, he'd have been chomping at the bit to try and get the wicket to sort of relieve a little bit of frustration there. But he's now coming out of the attack. On your screen there you can see Tom Mays is going to bowl from the Dundonald end. And just a quick check of the left-hander. He's just going to bowl over the wicket as normal to the left-hander Pretorius, who's yet to face a ball. So 42 for 2 from the power play. Probably even Stevens, possibly. Just clip down to long leg for a single. Brings Patel back on strike. Yeah, 42 for 2 from a power play. And you've lost your man in form, Tim Tector, but given the wicket that we've seen so far, going at 7 and over, next little middle period to set up maybe the last 4 or 5.
Yeah, and I think the most positive part of that power play, probably for the Leinster Lightning will be the over of Humphries, where he's shown that there's a little bit of turn on offer, and scoring with the spin's not going to be easy, especially as the game goes on.
Yeah, that's a short ball again you've been talking about, Jimmy. Too short from Mays, and only one man back on the leg side with the lack of pace. Patel is really comfortable to get in line for that really early and hit it in front of square. Very safe. Changing the field, but yeah, just a little bit short again.
I think that's a good field change also. Tom Mays, we obviously spoke about the fact you want to be hitting the top of the stumps there. Tom Mays, a big tall lad, natural length, probably more around waist high than top of the stumps high, and I think on this wicket it looks like it will sit up a little bit. I think you probably need that deeper wicket, because that's certainly where the batters are going to be looking to target him.
That's in the gap. Bit of work to do down there. They come back for two. That's really good running. Excellent running there from Patel. So he's looked quite energetic between the sticks here, looking to turn ones into twos. He moves on to 21 from just 14.
I'll tell you what, Ali, last week we saw Ben Callitz, who wasn't meant to be playing on the Wednesday, get himself a maiden list day 100, and Patel, who, as you said, a couple of days ago wasn't in the team, is certainly looking like he's well belonging out there as he goes on another pull shot as Mays hits that length I'm talking about a little bit again, and he plays another pull shot, but this one comes off the thigh and rolls slowly down to fine leg to bring up the 50 for the Leinster Lightning, and I think it's a good first six and a bit overs that they've had so far.
Yeah, I think the Knights will be looking to pick up another one reasonably early here. It's pushed into the offside, will just be one. Nice shot there from Pretorius. So yeah, just this middle period here. This might be especially the spinners, as you mentioned there. Coaching staff of the Lightning will be avidly looking at Humphries and Carmichael. They've picked three spinners, as we mentioned. That'll be a big part of their attack, left out Ruben Wilson and Ollie Riley for one of those spinners. Bumped, but it is field back now, Pretorius. So yeah, they've opted for the extra spinner rather than one of those two seamers. So clearly they've watched last week and the week before and thought it's going to turn. There is your card of the Lightning. And Ryan Pretorius has shown the length you want to bowl on this. The two wickets that he's picked up, Swanton Modgill and Tim Tector, both very, very similar dismissals. Pitching on a length and just nipping back through the gate. Modgill went for 11. Tim Tector, after hitting Pretorius for 2 boundaries and a 2 in the over, was bowled in the last ball of the over. You see there, Pretorius has bowled 3, 2 for 19. Foster from the city end was a little bit short than normal. He went for 19 from his 2. But that over from Matthew Humphries, just a boundary from it. 5 dot balls. He's going to continue from that Dundonald end and really should have had a wicket in that first over. Bowls to Patel. Nice line again. That's pushed down the ground for 1.
Yeah, it is a nice line of length there again. I like the fact that Humphries has the extra fielder up in the ring, trying to build a little bit of pressure to the right-hander. And obviously, as a left-arm spinner, taking the ball away from the right-hander's batter's edge, want to bowl as many balls at the right-hander as possible here. That's just good cricket from Leinster Lightning, just punching it down the ground. Patel taking his one, getting De Freitas on strike, trying to disrupt Humphries in his rhythm as much as possible and get the left-hand batter to face as many balls from the left-arm spinner as possible here.
Well, that's it, just looking at the field. 2 out on the leg side for De Freitas on the boundary, and he goes that way. Keeps it down now on the sweep. Pretorius throws it in. Yeah, this is what we're sort of talking about with the spinners on. Both left arm spinners for the Knights, and you got a right hand, left hand, and the spin's on. There's a 50% chance it's going in your favour.
Yeah, we saw that last week, didn't we, with the...
It's beautifully bowled from Humphreys, just held it back a little. Took the spin, beat the shot of Patel. Nice piece of keeping from Topping. The umpire suggests that Patel got something back down.
It was. I'm not sure that's the option for Patel there with 2 men straight and a deep mid-wicket out there. I'm not entirely sure this is the man that he should be trying to take on.
This could be interesting. He's gone to the non-striker's end. Oh, that was a... Could have been a little bit of luck there for the Knights. It bounced off James McCullum. Straight to Morgan Topping. Could have been a run out there.
That's the second one. James McCullum's caught on the thumb, and wind's making it a bit chilly out there, and tends to hurt that little bit more when it's a bit cold out there.
Blowing on the hands there.
Yeah. Humphreys takes the pace right out of that one. Pretorius looking to use his feet, and that's exactly what we're talking about. The left-hand batter against the left-arm spinner. First ball, he shuffled right across, got the ball self outside the line, played the sweep shot. Second ball, confident enough to use the feet. I think Patel needs to be a little bit smarter here. He probably needs the Pretorius to take a couple of risks against the left-arm spin of Humphreys, and he can continue against the seam as he's done so well.
Oh, it's in the air again. That's that same shot that should have cost him his wicket in Humphreys' first over. Playing against the spin, takes the edge, goes in the gap, and then get a single off it. So just 5 singles from that Humphreys over. He's bowled 2 overs for 9, and it's 57 for 2 from 8.
Yeah, a really good start there from Matthew Humphreys. 2 very good overs, creating all sorts of trouble. Couple opportunities, couple balls going into gaps. One going to hand, as you mentioned, that found its way to the ground. He'll certainly be feeling like he's in the game in a big way, and Ken Robertson will be waiting for his turn, licking his lips, thinking he can also make a big impact on this game.
Yeah, just that point you make there about the batters, really a conversation we saw on screen there. Is it something they really should be talking about saying, you know, I'm in here, I'm doing quite well against the seam. Let's try and work it to get the left-hander on strike as much as possible against Humphreys, because he's definitely causing problems for Patel, much more than the seam.
Yeah, very much so. And that's what partnership's all about. As Mays hits his hard length once again there, that's probably a little bit fuller than he was the last over, and I think that's where he wants to be. Not short enough for Patel to get right back and play the pull shot. But yeah, Ali, I think that's exactly what partnerships are all about. You know, it's about taking the calculated risks, the smart risks, picking up the bowlers you can get on top of, who they are, and the ones that are going to really threaten your wicket.
The call is 2. I don't think there'll be 2 out there to Kate Carmichael. He's pretty rapid on that boundary rider. So it is just 1. I think that's what you got to think about on your feet a little bit. You know, as the game goes along, we saw it earlier with the Knights changing the plan to Modgill. He was coming down, quickly changed the plan. So now we've seen Humphreys bowling to Patel. Break off there, that'll be a single. Yeah, 2 batters maybe trying to get together and work out where the target should be here, and possibly the right-hander against Humphreys turning it away isn't the best way to go.
And if he does feel like he has to put pressure on the left arm spin, I think it's again then about him taking the smarter option. I'm not sure trying to hit with a straight bat to the turning ball, but long off and long on a back, is the smartest option for him. I think he's just got to be a bit more aware of what his best options are.
To the pitch there. A bit shorter again. He has gotten the protection out there now. Just dried up the boundaries a little bit over the past few overs since that early one in May's first over. Good over from Humphreys, and now just singles so far from Mays. If he can close out the over with just a couple of singles, those are all important in this middle period. Sun breaks through. It's in the air, and that should be a wicket. It's Matthew Foster who is under it, and that is as comfortable as it gets. And Tom Mays with that little bit fuller delivery. Just stuck in the pitch again, possibly. And that's another wicket for the Knights. A really timely one. We mentioned about possibly even just getting 2 singles at the end of the over. It would have been a good over. Instead, Tom Mays gets the wicket of Chris DeFreitas, and he has to go for 5. Caught Foster, bowled Mays.
And I think you sensed that one coming, didn't you, Ali? You were just mentioning a couple good overs. Been a while since the boundary, and Mays, as I said, bowls that sort of harder length. That's actually an off-cutter that's just gone away. He's a tall man, gets a lot of bounce. Not easy to hit down the ground. And again, possibly not the best option, although I can see what DeFreitas was trying to do. Didn't come off in the splice of the bat. And that's the end of him. Very simple catch that time for Matthew Foster, and he made no mistake.
Yeah, just that wicket, picking up the wickets at good times now. The Knights, and it's brought out Sam Harbinson, the Lightning skipper, out to join Monal Patel. And the other obvious thing, it means then that discussion we were having about the left-hander, and he goes to the wall. It's 2 right-handers now, and that's a big breakthrough, I think, given that Kane Robertson will be looking to come on fairly soon, you would think. Mays in to bowl the first ball to Harbinson. It's on a length outside off, and Harbinson pats it back, so a good over again for the Northern Knights there, just the 3 from it on that wicket of DeFreitas. And after 9 overs, Leinster Lightning 60 for 3.
Just have a sneaky suspicion if we watch James McCullum for the next minute or two, he might look in the direction of Ken Robertson with the 2 right-handers batting now. We've seen Humphries get a bit of turn, create some issues for Patel here. I think it's a great opportunity for him to have left-arm spin working in tandem here for this middle period before looking to go back to his seamers. And I reckon he might be thinking that. You see a misfield there.
Yeah. Gets it back for 2. But again, you can see he's looked really comfortable at the far end from us here at the bowling's front, being from the Dundonald end and the seam. He has looked a little bit more ill at ease against the spin. That's a better shot, I think. They'll only get him 1, but much safer, I think, playing with the spin out to long off. That'll bring Harbinson. So when we see a change in field here, will they just stick with what they have, just with the new batter? Well, they're going to bring up fielder on the leg side, who's at deep mid wickets, coming to orthodox mid wicket. So a little bit of a squeeze on the leg side. That's in the air. Oh, dies in front of Underwear there. But again, it's a little bit early there. Sam Harbinson.
Similar story there, isn't it, Ali? Just holding up a little bit in the surface. A little bit of spin, a little bit of hold. Almost chip straight to cover there. He's got Jason van der Merwe into almost like a catching extra cover now. And they've taken the extra fielder who was behind square on the offside and put him in front of square. I think it's a good call also. Naturally, Harbinson then punches the next one off the back foot behind square, exactly where James McCullum was.
Exactly, just a little bit short on that occasion. For Manny Humphries, his length has been excellent today. He bowled a good length more than anything, and letting the pitch do it, bringing the batters forward. There's been very little to go on the back foot. Just a little bit short on that occasion to let Harbinson get off the mark. He goes for the reverse. It's in the air, but it's going to be safe. And that's what we're talking about with the right-hander. You've got to change it up then. You can't just let Humphries bowl And ball, same line and length. So Harmanson decides to go on the attack with the reverse. Brings its own risks though.
Yeah, I didn't actually mind that field change that he made. I just thought he missed his length a little bit. That was it.
Yeah.
However, having seen Sam Harmanson go on to the reverse sweep, I do think 2 behind square on the offside is the right option. But yeah, I think Matthew Humphries in this middle over, in these middle overs, is probably the main threat while he's working away from that far end. Wouldn't mind seeing another fielder in the ring on the leg side, or just something trying to force Patel into doing something that he doesn't necessarily want to. Don't think that Leinster Lightning will mind Humphries bowling his 4 overs, none for 20 odd.
Yeah.
I think if he could get 1 or 2 wickets, it would be a different situation. But
that's the key, isn't it? The wickets are the key there, because they can take. Sometimes you do just look at that and say, well, look, this guy's bowling really well. Let's just take him for a run of ball, really. Going to be Mays to continue. And you just take his 4 overs and let's say he goes none for 24, and then we can catch up with maybe one of the other bowlers who isn't quite as threatening. And certainly Humphries has definitely looked, despite the fact that he isn't picking up any wickets at the minute, he's certainly created the most amount of panic in the Lightning lineup so far.
Yeah, definitely so. I'm also just looking at the scoreboard, seeing 10 overs gone. Ken Robinson still 4. His full 4 quota, a quota of 4 to bowl.
Hit into the offside. Bit of work to do out there. Does it well. Saves a couple there again. We mentioned Carmichael. Got that job, I think, for life now. We always talk about somebody getting a short leg for life. Poor old Cade is just sent out there. As soon as the first couple of overs go by, it's off you go, Cade, and he has to patrol that boundary for the rest of the innings. Problem when you're good at something, you get it for life. Yeah, it's a good point you make there, because there's only 10 overs left, and as we've mentioned, the left arm spin has looked the most threatening. So if the other guy in your team has got 4 to bowl now out of the last 10, is it maybe a couple of overs late here for Robertson?
As we say that, Ali just saw captain at extra cover make a little signal down to Ken Robinson at fine leg, and I'm pretty sure he'll be on for the next over as around Pretorius does some good yardage at deep backward square. Tom Mays once again going into the wicket. Sam Harmanson taking on the pull shot, hitting it pretty well. Outfield seems a little bit stoppy-ish. I think when it rolls it doesn't look too slow, but if it goes in the air it's just plugging just a little bit. Pretorius.
A lot of the players after the first game here a few weeks back, and they did say, a double header from the Warriors against the Knights, and they did say that the outfield was a little bit soft underfoot, but that's a good 3-4 weeks ago. You'd have thought possibly with the slightly better weather it would have firmed up, but it does look a little bit soft still. It's in the leg side again. Should just be 1. It is.
Yeah, I suppose even with the slightly warmer weather, there's still been quite a bit of rain around, isn't there? There hasn't been an extended period with no rain, so probably just the case of the ground drying a little bit and then
getting up.
Correct, a little top up here and there.
Topped up, yeah.
Yeah, very much so. So it still looks a little bit slow, but maybe that's also.
That takes the edge. Work to do again for Carmichael. Yeah, and it's something with obviously big games coming up here at this ground in the year. Obviously a massive event here at the end of July with the test match. And really, we just had him just walking past us here. Groundsman Philip McCormick will like a little bit of weather to come, dry this ground out. He can really get to work on the ground. I really like a top class surface for that test match. It does need a little bit of heat around just to make it a little bit easier. 71 for 3 current score after 11 overs.
It's quite an interesting first 11 overs there, Ali. I'm not entirely sure who would be the happier of the two teams, to be honest. I think at times the Knights probably weren't full enough for that new ball. Those first 5 overs probably didn't hit the top of the stumps enough. You can see their plan now. Tom May's going into the wicket and trying to make it hard for the Leinster batters to go square of the wicket with the two-pace nature. Bit of spin on offer for Matthew Humphries, and as we see Ken Robertson come into the attack here for the first time, he'll certainly be looking to continue creating threats and opportunities. As he starts pretty well there.
Yeah,
as
interesting here to see what way he bowls here, because he's watched Humphries bowling from that end for 3 overs. He bowls a little bit quicker through the air than Humphries. He just slows pace down. Always think about, you know better than me, being a spinner yourself, trying to work out the pace of a pitch really early. It's okay watching a bowler, but it's only when you bowl that you can really gauge what pace you should be bowling at.
Yeah, and I think for me it's always about shape, not so much about pace. You've got to make sure that the shape's on the ball. This is a start of a big appeal, but I think umpire Rolly Black dismissed it pretty quickly, and that was the end of that. Yeah, I just think it's all about shape. You know, you can go as quick as you want, as long as the ball's got overspin and side spin on it, you can get something out of the wicket. I just think sometimes as spinners we try to go a bit too flat when we go too quick, and I think Robinson has settled in nicely here. I think you're 100% right. He's trying to figure out exactly what will suit him best here. He's got great control over his pace and shape on the ball, and I don't think it matters too much about how quick or slow he goes, as long as he keeps that shape on the ball.
That's in the air. Man underneath it. And Cade Carmichael does the business for the Knights, and Cian Robertson strikes in his first over. A little bit of a top edge there from Harbinson, trying to clear the ropes there. Didn't really worry about the fielder. He was looking to hit that over the rope for 6, but he gets a little bit of a top edge, and Cade Carmichael was in the perfect position, and he completes the catch. And Sam Harbinson has to go for 10.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, Ali. If you just look at the way that that's come out the hand, the shape is on the ball. As a result, it drops a little bit, beats him in the length, plus because he's getting nice and over the top of the ball, gets a bit of extra top spin on it, bounces a little bit too much, and that's where the top edge comes in. If he's a little bit too flat or a little bit too quick, you end up finding that those sorts of shots and those sorts of deliveries slide onto the bat quite nicely. And that could have been a completely different result, but Robinson starting exactly the way he wanted to. Good shape on the ball, getting it up and down there, inviting Harbinson to play the aggressive shot and getting the reward straight away there. A very good start here by Ken Robinson.
Yeah, it's exactly what the skipper would have wanted. He'd probably watched those 3 overs from Humphries and kept waving at his captain, get me on here, and he has come on. He took 4 wickets in the IP20 game last week, and he's on the mark early today. Gavin Hoy comes in and straight away beaten with the first ball. Some good signs from Cian Robertson there. Just the 4 runs coming from that over and that really important wicket, and it's 75 for 4 now for the Leinster Lightning. But yeah, it's just really interesting to hear you talk about that, Jimmy. Obviously that's your stock trade, spin bowling. So just from somebody who doesn't do that, if young kids out there are trying to take up spin bowling, you mentioned about the shape of the ball rather than the pace of the ball. Is that what you'd be looking to get kids to actually try and spin the ball rather than just go up there and bowl it straight?
Yeah, I think it's so easy to get caught up in the word pace and think that you've got to bowl, especially young kids playing men's cricket, adults cricket, young girls playing women's senior cricket, etc., and they're trying to bowl a certain pace. But in actual fact, if there's no revs on the ball and there's no shape on the ball, you can't control the wicket you play on. So if there's no spin in the wicket, you're effectively just bowling slow, medium pace if there's no shape on the ball. You know, as a spinner, you only have a few weapons as we see a bowling change as Tyron Kuhn replaces Tom Mays, and that man Kate Carmichael once again flying around that cover sweeper boundary, doing exactly what's asked of him. Unfortunately, Ali, it seems like it's been a pattern for the last 3 or 4 weeks. There's a bit of drizzle around now. We can hear the motors starting to pushing on covers, I'm assuming, which is not what we want to be seeing at this stage, is it?
Yeah, it's really strange. I'm just looking above my head here, and pretty much blue sky. There's just one little cloud. It seems that it's the one that's causing a little bit of an issue here. As you say, we can hear the tractors just kicking in here. There's a little bit of drizzle. It's not enough to cause a problem right now, but we've seen this morning take too much to force a stoppage in play. And here's hoping we can just get this blown through. It's in the air. It's got enough of it. He has. It's just bounced in front of us and it's gone all the way. Good shot from Patel, and we haven't really mentioned his name over the past 10 or 15 minutes. He's been watching down the other end. That rain has certainly increased, and I'm going to have a chat here. Mark Hawthorne going to have a word. You can see him on screen there just going off. I think what they're talking about here is because it's blue sky all around of us here. It's just one little cloud. The wind is quite strong, so the thought is that it will blow very quickly. But I can tell you, this is getting quite heavy now. In fact, more than heavy. But into the leg side, is it going to carry? It's not. It's going to stop short of Pretorius, so it will just be one.
I don't think we're in an ideal position here either, Ali. Trying to hide a little bit from the rain and
tell you what,
keep an eye on the game, and all in one go.
It's quite crazy, isn't it, our weather system? We're never done talking about it.
I think it was a good decision by the umpires though, because it definitely has relaxed just a little bit now as we hear the tractors switch off in the background, and it's good running by Gavin Hoey, heading the ball into the leg side between deep mid wicket and long on, and turning a 1 into a 2 there. Tyron Kuhn, probably a little bit more along the sort of surface type of seam bowler, although he's a big man, and I think Leinster picking up on that very quickly and thinking he might be the one that comes onto the bat a little bit better as Gavin Hoey goes big, but he's
not got enough on it. Matthew Humphreys is just down in front of it, and he settles under it. And I was exactly the same as you, Jimmy. I thought that was gone, but possibly just held up. And Matthew Humphreys settled under it, and it was actually perfect for him in the end because he was able to get set just a foot or so inside the boundary. Takes the catch, and the 5th wicket falls. Gavin Hoey just trying to raise that rate. You can see it here now. He's got plenty of it. You can just see Matthew Humphreys gets settled here. There he is. Just a foot inside the rope, and you do feel a little bit unlucky as a batter. You just get caught there, but the 5th wicket falls, and they're just chipping away here, the Knights. It's half the side out just for 86. 7 overs to go. The Lightning are now 86 for 5.
Yeah, we spoke about that wind, didn't we? We spoke about how strong it was, and he's tried to go straight into it. And I think he probably caught it better than what it looked in the end. Humphreys looked like he almost took a little bit of a tumble, about a step or two before he held on to the catch, but ended up taking a very good catch on the rope. Never easy with the rope right behind you. Ends up making it look a lot easier than it was. Quite an action-packed over that. Bit of a downpour of rain, a 6, a wicket, a little bit of everything.
Listen, we're quick to criticise, but let's give a little bit of praise to the umpires there. They had a little bit of forethought. We could have been heading to the pavilion quite easily there because it was quite a heavy, I wouldn't even call it a shower, but just downpour for a little bit, and a little bit of forethought to see it was going to blow through very quickly and kept the players out there, so we could have lost a little bit of time there. So fair play to Rolly Black and Mark Hawthorne for sticking it out. mentioned Patel. He's moved on to 40, but hasn't really been able to get very much of the strike recently. He watched quite a lot of his partners come and go. That's a little bit short, gets away with that one.
Yeah, 3 dot balls, and Ken Robinson will have his tail up now, feel as though he's got a bit of momentum with him. This is so often where a batter plays a loose stroke. Patel should probably just look to try and get himself up the other end.
Could be out, should be out, and has been dropped by Ken Robertson. Always difficult coming back to you, but I think he possibly should have taken that one, and that would have been perfect for you, Jimmy, because you called that. He was going to try and break the shackles, hit that straight back to Ken Robertson. I think he probably should have taken that one.
Yeah, he'll be disappointed there. You get hands to it, you certainly want to take it, especially when it's off your own bowling. And again, we spoke a little bit about shape. You know, he's looked to try and hit that down the ground, but it's just beaten him in the air. And created an opportunity there. As Seamus Lynch, the new batter, just shuffles across and knocks that one down to long on, nice and easily, to get himself up and running off the mark.
Yeah, I didn't mention the new batter, which we probably should have done. I'm very interested to see how Seamus Lynch goes here. He's got a strike rate right now of 340 in this tournament, so that's not the worst. That's outside the off stump, and again, good signs from Robertson. Just the 2 from that over another quality one, and he's a little bit disappointed, as we talked about. Just looks up to the sky. Possibly could have picked up his second, but either way, just the 2. There's your card. Patel really standing out here on his debut. 41 from 36, but regular wickets being taken by the Knights. First of all, with the seam of Pretorius bowling that good length and nipping the couple back between Mudgill and Sector, and then we've seen a lot of spin, which has only taken the 1 wicket, but has certainly caused a lot of problems so far. The Freitas gone for 5, Harbinson 10, and Gavin Hoy for just the 3.
Yeah, as you mentioned there, the spin only taking the 1 wicket, but it is worth mentioning Patel probably got to mid-20s off just 14, 15 balls, and he's struggled since then. That probably forced that little chance, half chance, well, more than a half chance off the last over. As Lynch punches that one confidently off the back foot.
Yeah, you're talking about Seamus Lynch. I mentioned that strike rate. Not only they got a very high strike rate at the minute. I was here last year in September when they played an IP20 game against the Knights, and I haven't seen many players hit the ball as cleanly. He got 100 that day. He hit the ball as cleanly as I say. I've seen the ball go around this park. It's in the offside work to do for Carmichael, and even he can't stop that one. A little bit wide on that occasion. Tyron Kuhn, and he paid the penalty with a boundary.
Yeah, that's certainly not the line that Kuhn would like to bowl, but you can see Patel giving himself a little bit of room. Kuhn never really followed him, never really went wide enough either. It was kind of in between, and probably exactly where Patel wanted it, and he's just helped himself to a boundary through backward point there.
Straighter, a little bit of work to do. Humphreys, he does it well. There's Ken Robertson, rather. Excuse me. Does it well there. Yeah, we're closing in on the 15th over, and you know, we start to look at what are the Lightning looking at here. 5.5 to go. Clubbed into the leg side. Jason Vandermeer was quick off the boundary. Keeps that down to 1. As we mentioned a few times earlier in the game, the toss with the 2. This is a big game in this tournament. The Leinster Lightning were to become the winners today. That takes them well clear, with only a third of the tournament left after today. So a huge game for the Knights if they have any ambitions of winning this trophy.
Yeah, I don't think, well, certainly, no, you can never say never, but I think for the other three teams, if Leinster Lightning were to win today, that would probably see them at the top and remain at the top for the rest of the tournament. I don't see anyone catching them after that. I think the Northern Knights will know that. They'll be well aware.
Just hit down the ground. A much tighter line. Thank now after that boundary. Just bowled much more on the stumps and just singles to end the over. Got 8 from it. And after 15 overs, it's 96 for 5. We were here last week, and it was a truncated game, unfortunately, again, just with about 3 overs to go. The Knights' innings was ended, and that actually ended the game. But talking to some of the players afterwards, they thought they were already on their way with 128 with 2.5 to go. So 140, 150 they were looking at that stage, and they thought that was a good score this time last week. And probably think that's probably right. It would be above par, maybe 140. That's gone down the ground, but it's straight to the man, and it's out. And you have called that all day. That's not the option for Patel. Yes, he had to get going here, but he's picked out the man at long on. Almost handed it to him, really. Just hit it straight down his throat. And Patel's innings, as you mentioned, got a little bit stuck there. He was going well early on against this team, but the left arm spin caused a few problems. Having said that, it's a good innings from Monil Patel on debut. 47 from 40, but he has to go.
Yeah, it is a good innings, and he really has done everything he can to get Leinster up towards that sort of par total that you're talking about there, Ali. But he did just get a little bit stuck, as you say, and you felt as though that was coming. Very intrigued to see here. After this over, there'll be 4 left. 2 left-arm spinners will both have 1 each. I'd like to see them both bowl out, I must be honest, but it's not very often you see left-arm spin bowling 17, 18, 19 or 20. And I think if they were to bowl out, that Leinster Lightning have possibly just missed a trick here, because I'd like to see a left-hander come out and try and counteract that a little bit. You've got David Delaney, who maybe in to come in at 9, but is more than capable with the bat. And you're talking about Seamus Lynch's 100 here last year. I think it was Delaney at the other end.
It was. It certainly was. They put on a record partnership that day. You'll see over to our left here. Delaney getting warmed up, but it's Fionn Hand who's come out. He steps across to the offside to try and sweep that. Doesn't get anything on it. Big plus for the Lightning, of course, having Fionn Hand back in the lineup. 3-dimensional cricketer, good in the field. He'll probably take the new ball and can certainly clear the ropes here. It's not easy against the left arm spin, though. And you can see that same shot again. He's premeditating across to his off stump. And Robertson's keeping it wide.
Yeah, it's a good adjustment there by Ken Robinson, just dragging him wider and wider and wider. And you can see Fionn Hand, as you mentioned, getting himself across, trying to access that leg side.
And decides to go the other way this time. And has cleared the rope just in front, in fact, just in front of the ropes there. It's going to go for a boundary. So yeah, change tack rather than playing the orthodox sweep, which he missed twice. I can't hit the orthodox one. Let's go for the reverse. And he gets it over the fielder for 4.
I think Robinson playing a little bit of a guessing game there, thinking he was probably going to do the same thing, shuffle across, try to go full and straight, but got it a bit too full, and Fionn Hand good enough to hit the full toss up and over.
Yeah, I'll be disappointed with that. Fionn Hand, it was dragged down a little bit. But whisper it quietly. Kane Robertson has bowled through 3 overs now. It's 2 for 10. And in the T20 game, there's exceptional figures there. And as you mentioned, it would be perhaps a little bit refreshing, let's say, to see if James McCullum will go with his left arm spinners as we enter the last 4. Yes, it's not a normal sort of plan, but you know, somebody's going 2 for 10. The other problem, though, I suppose that they've got lined up against him now, but he's bowling so well that maybe isn't an issue. You know, he's bowling really well to his field, mixing it up. So it'll be interesting to see if James McCullum does stick with his left arm spinners. Tom Mays is going to bowl from the Dundonald end. He's going to bowl over number 17. The 100's up for the Lightning with 4 to go.
Mays looks to go a little bit fuller there, and Seamus Lynch hits it down to long on. Yeah, I suppose the other option, and I think the normal option, would be Matthew Foster closes out from that far side, but I just think Matthew Foster naturally bowls quite a heavy length. He'll look to mix up his pace with the north cutter, hitting with the wind to the leg side boundary, 2 right-hand batters in. I think Ian Robinson is definitely the option. I'm definitely biased, obviously, to the left-arm spinners.
Of course, the Union.
Yeah, correct. But I definitely think that Robinson-Humphreys is the better option. As we see Fionn Hand just give himself a little bit of room. Mays again, a little bit fuller. Hand plays a beautiful cricket shot, past extra cover, and beats the man that we've been talking about, doing some serious yards on that cover sweeper boundary, Cade Carmichael. Well, that races away to the boundary.
You just see the width that Fionn Hand created there. Took a good step out to his leg stump. That's innovation we see at the end of an innings. This time he stays still. He created his own angle there, because that wasn't the worst ball in terms of line from Tom Mays. Possibly a little full, as you say, but Hand created the angle into the offside by stepping away and crashing it through the covers for 4. And then the next ball he stays still, possibly thinking that Mays may follow him. Good game here good contest between Mays and Hand. It'll be Lynch on strike now, though. He drags that into the leg side, but there's plenty of protection. It's Matthew Humphreys on this occasion. Keeps it to 1.
Yeah, again, it's, as you say, a little bit of a game of am I going, am I not? It's also interesting to see the tactics here of the Northern Knights, and if they do bowl seem to finish here, will they go into the wicket? Tom Mays seems to have been going a little bit fuller, looking to try and get that Yorker length in, make sure that the Lightning batters can't get under it. But I think that's probably the better option, is into the wicket, change of pace. It's Fionn Hand and Seamus Lynch are up to the task there, and the miss hits into the mid-wicket allows him to get back for a good 2 there.
Yeah, he hit that so badly. He was able to get 2, just about crept over the square. Bit of a chase in from Matthew Humphrey. So yeah, if you could perfect that shot, it would be great. You get 2 every time, but he hit it so badly, as I say, mistimed it. A really slower ball there from Mays. They close out this over. Well, that'll be an interesting call. Yeah, the switch hit. I like that to be a little bit tighter to see what Mark Hawthorne would have done there. It was a wide, because it was really wide. But if I had just missed what would be the off or leg stump, whichever way you want to call it, with Fionn Hand turning round, would he have waded him down the leg side there?
Certainly hope not. in my opinion, anyway. I think if you turn around and you go left-handed, he's got up until that wide line to play with, in my opinion. Jason van der Merwe down in front of us here, comes round. It'll be another double. Fionn Hand. That closes out the over. 12 from it. And 112 for 6 with 3 to go. And we're possibly looking in that 140 direction now, which will be a good score, we think. T20 game. Hard to know. Looks like you're going to get your wish here, Jimmy. Yeah, I think it's the right call, Ali. I think also if the seamers operate from this side with that strong wind going into the wicket, it's a big hit out into the wind, into the leg side. I don't mind seeing them bowling off cutters and back of a length into the wicket, etc. Try and make the most of the pitch and the conditions on offer. And then Ken Robinson trying to use this wind to drift the ball in, spin it away, again bowl into the wicket, make it as hard as possible for the batters to hit him.
That's in the air. I think he's going to get away with this, though. It's in the gap. Get 2, but that's exactly what you're talking about. No real purchase on that. Must be a little bit fortunate to find that area on the offside. Gets back for 2.
That's a very good shot that by Seamus Lynch. He just holds his shape nicely, goes with the spin of the ball over extra cover, and some good work done by Rowan Pretorius there in the deep. Now this is obviously, as we spoke about, the game of where will I go. I think Seamus Lynch has seen that dragging the ball into the leg side is probably quite a difficult option, so he's decided to just stay leg side of the ball that time and hit it over the offside. It'll be interesting to see if that's his plan for the rest of the over.
And work again for Pretorius. Oh, he's done well again. That's 4 runs he saved in these last 2 balls. Great work out there, and they could be vital at the end of this game. It's not going to be a 180-190 high scoring game here, and every run's going to count in these last 15 deliveries.
Very much so. I think the other option that Robinson has here is Jason van der Merwe on the ring at extra cover. Could come to a cover point, and Rowan Pretorius at deep cover could shift a whole lot straighter.
Chance for Pretorius, and this time he holds on. And he gives a little punch there. As we mentioned earlier, dropped a much more simple chance earlier off Matthew Humphreys, so maybe Matthew Humphreys might want to donate that wicket to Robertson, but a good catch this time from Pretorius, and he's doing some great work out there. The bowling's been good, to be fair. No 4 balls really, they're making the Lightning batters hit down the ground, but Pretorius has done well to save a couple of boundaries, and then he's taken the catch, and Seamus Lynch has gone for 11.
Yeah, great piece of bowling by Ken Robinson there. And I spoke earlier a little bit about the shape of the ball. It's so easy at the back end here to just get flatter and flatter and quicker, but it's actually just that overspin, that drop, the turn that's beaten Lynch there. He's tried to go over extra cover again, found the outside half of the bat, and Pretorius, who after dropping an absolute dolly in the 6th over off Matthew Humphreys, has made 2 excellent saves out on the boundary and then taken a good catch. So he's redeemed himself so far this over. Here comes a whole different challenge now for Robinson with the left-handed. David Delaney walking out. Oh, it's not David Delaney.
Yeah,
it's still a left-hander. That's Dylan Loose.
That's what's thrown you there.
Yeah.
You were expecting David Delaney to come out, but
it was indeed.
Dylan Lewis.
Was indeed. So still a different challenge though. The left-handed batter. Robinson will probably just be looking to take the.
He looks sure like how that's missed.
He was off celebrating there, was Ken Robinson. I'm not entirely sure what's happened there.
Going for buys, but I'll hopefully get to see that again, because I'm not really sure how that missed the stumps. Here we get a look at it. Just coming across, looking for a little bit of turn, big swing. Oh, it's spun back and missed the off stump by a whisker. As you say, Robertson was away, he was wheeling away, thinking he'd picked up his 4th. This occasion he tries to pick it up with the appeal. Doesn't do so, but really top class spell of bowling from Cian Robertson. 4 overs there, and he's taken 3 for 16. His captain will be delighted with that, and even more so, just as we're talking about having to bowl the 18th over in a game. Left arm spinner won't be in that position very often, and being thrown the ball and having having the guts to take the ball and say, look, I'm going to bowl. I've bowled really well. Give me another go. And he didn't get hit for any boundaries in that 18th over, and that's a good sign, and also managed to pick up a wicket. So just new skills there a little bit for Kane Robertson, and he's done really well.
Yeah, he'll be very happy with that. And as you say, it is new skills. It's picking up new things. And to not go for, well, there was a 4 byes, I suppose, but you said you can't fault that to the bowler, can you? To not go for a boundary in the was that the 17th or the 18th? It was the 18th. It was the 18th. To not go for a boundary in the 18th over as a left-arm spinner, especially with such a strong wind blowing to the leg side, I think it's a great effort and a great spell by Robertson there.
Pace off from Matthew Foster. Really held that one back, and yeah, field hand was through about 4 shots there by the time the ball reached the stumps. A good piece of bowling coming back. I think it was the lack of pace that allowed it to hit the stumps, because it was quite short. It rolled along the deck, and let's hit the off stump, and you can see Matthew Foster returning, picks up the wicket of Fionn Hand.
Yeah, I was saying earlier I wasn't entirely sure who would close out and whether Foster would bowl from that far side, but I think James McCollum has got this 100% right. Matthew Foster going just into the wicket, the odd off cutter, the odd short one, makes it very difficult for the right-handed batter to hit into that long side. The issue for the Northern Knights, however, is that there are now 2 left-handed batters at the crease, as this time it is David Delaney that walks out.
It definitely is. But the other thing I've just looked up and seen there, it's kind of crept up on me a little bit. It's now 8 down, so there's 8 wickets gone here, and again, probably with Delaney coming in at 10, that's thrown me a little bit, because he's usually higher up the order. So, you know, a couple of balls here, and this innings could be over. Foster in again, round the wicket.
Yeah, and I was just going to say there also now his off cutter into the wicket, although they're hitting with the wind. The off cutter obviously going away from the 2 left-handed batters makes it a whole lot more difficult for them to hit the ball into that leg side boundary.
Yeah, you can see on your screen there both batters doing that little sign that we're kind of doing about little off cutters. See what's coming here. It's a different thing knowing what's coming and actually being able to clear the boundary. Lewis hasn't got off the mark yet. He just taps that into the leg side for 1. So no big fireworks as yet coming here in the 19th over. Foster just bowling into the pitch. Singles are fine for the Knights at the moment. Will Delaney take the long handle here? On the leg side, will they come back for 2? No, they decided against it.
That's a tactical decision there. Heard the call of no ball, decided free hit. I'll just have 1 here, thank you very much. I'll take the strike.
Yeah, I missed that. I missed the no ball call. There is the free hit.
Matthew Foster won't be impressed with that. It's not really a mistake you want to be making when you've got a team 8 down into the 19th over. You can't be overstepping the front line.
Tries to go wide Yorker, but it's a little bit too wide, and we've seen Dylan Loose already just tapping the ball back for a single. I was happy to take a single on his last delivery, and he may well have done the same again, but obviously now with a free hit, he's got a literal free rein to try and hit a boundary here. These could be crucial runs now. Foster will be looking to get out of this. Into the pitch. Very difficult to see out there, believe it or not, with the sunshine which is now coming down.
Yeah, Lou's got a good piece of that. Not quite enough. It's a big pocket out there. We spoke earlier about the fact that the boundary dimensions actually haven't changed. We've shifted over 2 strips, so that leg side boundary is a lot longer than it was last week, and Kate Carmichael's able to get across and pick the ball up in that deep mid-wicket cow corner pocket, keep it just down to 2. Matthew Foster will feel a little bit like he's given a couple extra runs away there, though, which he'll be disappointed in.
Yeah, he'll be looking to get out of this now. He'll be looking really just for these 2 balls to get out of the over. He shouldn't be bowling these.
Yeah.
It's given a wide.
You would have thought that was decent enough execution, so what you possibly couldn't have seen on screen was a slight change in the field there mid-off. Jason van der Merwe, who was on the boundary, has come up into the ring, and he's as far as possibly away from us. I think it's Kian Robinson. I can't quite see, but I think it's Kian Robinson who's at backward points, has dropped back, so that wide Yorker is where he'll be looking. But Dylan Lewis,
that's nice,
knows exactly what he's trying to do. Shuffles himself across and helps it over 45 beautifully for a boundary. This is turning into a really good over for the Leinster Lightning. We were talking a little bit about that 140 mark, and at the start of this over probably thought it was unlikely. At the end of this over we could be looking at a little bit more than that.
Yeah, that's the game. In these last couple of overs, you can see the field. Kind of tells you where the ball's going to go. So you can work it out. It's going to be another wide. If you can work out where the ball's going to be bowled, you can be a little bit more innovative. That was a lovely shot for 4. Picked his spots. Definitely Foster now looking to try and get out of this. Really would like a dot or a single to close this out. Yeah, that 140 looks as if it's going to be met now.
Yeah, you could see his frustration there as he bowls a pretty good ball to finish off the over, and Lewis gets a dull inside edge onto it, and 45 cleans up. That's a big over for the Leinster Lightning, and they'll certainly be feeling very good after that one, whereas the Northern Knights will feel a little bit disappointed with that. Expensive over, the 19th. And if they were looking at 140 as a par score, they're probably going to be chasing slightly more. It seems so silly, doesn't it, Ali? You're talking 5-10 runs, you know, but it's just the momentum shift. It's the psychological change of it. The difference between chasing 135, 132 and chasing 140 or 145.
Absolutely.
It's 2 shots in
two
reality.
Shots really, you know, but it's what's in your... Well, we talked last week about going from 0 to 1 when you're batting.
Yeah.
Just the psychological. As soon as you get off the mark, you feel a little more comfortable, but it's 1 run in the scheme of things. But that's the game here, and this could be a crucial over here. It's going to be Ruan Pretorius who's going to bowl it. And there we've seen he's happy to take the single, and that's where that free hit really is quite important, because Lewis has sort of suggested that he's happy to push for 1, give Delaney the more license to try and clear the boundary, whereas the free hit gave him literally that free hit, and he was able to lose the shackles a wee bit. So he's turned it over to David Delaney here now. To the pitch, it'll fall short. Should just be 1. Van der Merwe to throw back into Pretorius. And the Knights will take that, 2 singles.
Yeah, and I said in the last over, obviously with the 2 left-handers, it probably threw Matthew Foster's plans a little bit, because I'm sure he would like to have gone into the wicket. But in actual fact, the left-handers then would have been hitting to the leg side with the wind. But on the flip side of that coin,
that's exactly what you're talking about. It's in the air and has been caught.
It's Morgan Topping at backward point.
Diving forward. That's actually a good catch in the end, because it sort of looped up and I thought it was just going to drop short. He's taking the opportunity. Dylan Lewis has to go for 9. Exactly as you were talking about in terms of bowling into the pitch. They were hitting leg side, which was only going to be for 1 because there's a big boundary right there. So he tried the different option to go offside and really did well to get something on that in the end. A good diving catch there, Morgan Topping. So a little bit of a freakish dismissal there, I would say.
Yeah, I think he'd probably picked the right shot, picked the right ball, managed to get bat on it. Would have thought that he'd done everything absolutely spot on. Unfortunately for him, must have came off either the toe or the splice. It's looped up to backward point. And unfortunately for Leinster Lightning, it brings another left-hand batter to the crease. I guarantee you Pretorius won't be changing his plan at all here. It'll be off-cutters or bouncers into the wicket, trying to mix up the pace, make it as difficult for the batter to find the middle of the bat as possible, as well as clear the boundary, going straight into the teeth of that strong wind that's currently blowing.
There it is, exactly as you call it. I sit out and sit down the ground. They're not going to come back for two. I think that's a wise decision with 9 down. So here's the swings and roundabouts we've just talked about. The 19th over goes for plenty. And the Lightning think we're on the way here to a decent total. Now this 20th from Pretorius is a wicket and 3 singles. Can Delaney grab it back now? That's similar again. This should be 2. I would think they're going to go for 2 this time. And do. So he gets back. So yeah, just the psychological stuff we talk about. One ball could make a big difference here. If David Delaney can get the hold of this and get a boundary, take it up to mid 140s. And if Pretorius can keep it down to a single, small margins, but could be so important at the end of this game. Here we go, last ball of the innings. Pretorius to Delaney. Into the wicket, it's in the air. Jason Van der Merwe was going to come in. It should just be 1, and is. So a good ending there from Ruan Pretorius. He's bowled exactly to his field. As James Cameron Dow mentioned a few times, the left-handers didn't help the Lightning there, having to play into the larger side, but they'll work at that in the second innings. They'll have their plans as well, and they've ended up on 142 for 9, round about where we talked about.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting chase, Sally. Well, you can't really tell what the pitch is doing until both teams have batted, and I did feel at the start it looked like it was playing a little bit better than it was last week. And as we said earlier, Northern Knights against Munster, when they came off the rain after, what was it, 17.4 overs or somewhere around there, we're 128 on the board, and we're probably looking like getting closer to 150. So I'm not sure if that is an above par score. I'm not sure if it's on par.
Yeah, difficult to know. There's your Lightning card, and really nobody really got going. You can see quite a lot of early double figure scores. Watgill and Tector were cleaned up by Pretorius, having just got going. And then in the middle order, it was the spinners that took control. Yes, it was the seamers that picked up a few wickets, but then Humphreys and Robertson bowled really well. Humphreys went wicketless, but both of them in tandem bowled really well. And nobody really got going there for the Lightning. It was only Monil Patel with 47. There's your partnerships, and as I can say, no real big partnership, but lots of teens and early 20s right the way down, and with the highest partnership between Tector and Patel for 24.
Yeah, and you can see there, as you mentioned, Ali, it was spin of Humphreys going at 5 and over and Robinson going at 4 and over that really put on a squeeze in the middle overs. Around Pretorius picking up 3 for, got a couple to nibble back through bat and pad early on, picking up the 2 openers. Matthew Foster, I think, will be disappointed with his day out. Wasn't quite at his best. And Tyron Kuhn going for 19 in just 2 overs there. So I think the one thing that the Leinster Lightning will certainly take away from that there's a bit of spin on offer, and if their 3 spinners can get it right, it's going to be a very, very difficult chase for the Northern Knights.
Yeah, I think that's the way they were looking at it. There's your match summary. And the Lightning won the toss. They elected to bat first, probably because they've got those 3 spinners in the team, and they have amassed 142 for 9. Monil Patel with the top score of 47. Robertson taking 3 for 16, Pretorius 3 for 25, and just at the minute we've got another one of those unbelievable little showers. Blue sky above our head, but we've got a little bit of a shower here. Hopefully that will blow through an innings break here, and we'll be back on time when the Knights will be chasing 143. We hope you can join us in a few moments, but it's goodbye for now. Well, welcome back to the ward, Stormont. I'm delighted to say, if you were with us just at the break, the rain cloud that came above was quickly blown away. And we're now back to bright sunshine here at the ward, Stormont. It is quite blustery though, and that could be quite important in this second innings. Just about to get started here. You can see on your screen there, final score 142. So the target for the Northern Knights is 143. A crucial game here in this IP20 trophy between the Knights and the Lightning. If the Lightning are the winners today, you would have to say that they're almost certainly going to be the victors in this tournament. But Warriors and the Reds, who played this morning, they'll also be cheering on the Northern Knights to try and tighten this up a little bit towards the end of this tournament. So out in the middle we've got Pretorius and Morgan Topping, and it's going to be Dylan Lewis who's going to open the bowling to Pretorius. He opens up with just a single down to fielder on the boundary. Fee on hand has been placed at long on. So opening up with spin. We saw how important spin was in the opening innings. Right arm off spin here into Topping. I'm absolutely delighted to have Jimmy Cameron down with me earlier, but it's a new man beside me in the comb box here. Just see this ball out. Maybe a tantalising wee waiting. Dot ball. Yeah, so we've got the Director of Representative Cricket and Vice Chairperson of the NCU. Absolutely delighted to have with me Andrew Cowden. Welcome, Andrew.
Thanks, Ali. Thank you.
Probably get into it in a little second here because Dylan Lewis is really rotting through this over. Just one run coming so far from 4 balls, exactly what his captain would have wanted to get through the first over. Quick single here. And he does make it. Morgan Topping's quick between the sticks, but that will test the old hamstring. He's been having problems with his hamstring recently. That will give it a good test. Just the 1 ball left in this over. Sometimes the tactic of bowling spin in the first over. Pretorius in the air, but this could be a chance here, and that's a direct hit, and it is gone. I actually thought that the fielder had chosen the wrong end to go to. I thought this end at the non-striker would have been better, but he chose to go to the far end. Morgan Topping's run just gets worse and worse since he's come back from that injury. Hasn't really got going, and he's been run out for just 1. And what a start for the Leinster Lightning. Morgan Topping goes for 1. Here is that shot. You can see Pretorius hits it straight back down the ground. He takes off. Morgan Topping a little bit slow, and that's maybe why Modgill went for the non-striker's end. Keeper Lynch wasn't too confident about it, but the umpire goes in his favour, and the first wicket falls. So very interesting over, Andrew.
Absolutely.
I was trying to get through it just to get you introduced and stuff, and then of course a wicket falls off that last ball. So yeah, not an ideal start for the Knights.
No, it's certainly a good start for Leinster Lightning there. But James McCollum, obviously captain now, joins certainly the in-form Ruan Pretorius, who's an excellent start to the season, both for the Knights and for Woodfield. And James McCollum has also been in the runs as well in the early part of the season, and as has the outgoing batsman Morgan Topping. We played against him in the T20 Cup at the lawn, and I hadn't seen striking like that from a batter for quite a bit of time. and that was on his way back from the injury. So disappointing sort of end there for Morgan. I'm sure he will be disappointed, but it's obviously now time for the Knights to try and rebuild. And just as we are talking, James McCollum hits one through the covers that has gone for 4. So hopefully that'll get us on our way.
Yeah, I see Pretorius there. It's Rian Pretorius who's hit that through the covers.
There's my first take of the day.
Yeah, Rian Pretorius there. It's Fionn Hand who has taken the ball as we expected, opening the bowling from the city end. And first ball, Pretorius off the back foot, hits it through the covers. And then goes leg side. Is fielder out there who will keep it to a single. Yeah, you mentioned that game you play for the club that plays here, CSNI, and that was the first game that Morgan Topping had come back. Fionn Hand now into McCollum, and it's a big appeal, and it is in the affirmative, and the Lightning are striking early here. Terrific ball from Fionn Hand, and James McCollum has been caught on the crease, just coming back in, and a big appeal from Fionn Hand, and James McCollum has gone. First ball, LBW. Big wicket for the Lightning. Just looking at it again here now. Just caught on the crease. Yeah, and that telltale sign when you fall over just makes it look a little bit worse. And a good appeal from Hand on the man behind the sticks. And umpire Rolly Black goes in the affirmative. And really exactly what the Lightning wanted to come out and do. They've taken a wicket in each of the first 2 overs. Not a great start for the Northern Knights, Andrew.
No, it's certainly a bit of a disappointing start for us, and obviously a good one for Leinster Lightning. But you see it all the time in T20 cricket, how quickly the game can change, and 2 batsmen can obviously get themselves in, and momentum can change quite quickly. So we hope here that obviously that can happen for the Knights. Is that Cade Carmichael?
Yep, Cade Carmichael out there. He had a really good innings in the previous game between these 2 sides in the festival at Pembroke. He's under pressure now though, and leaves that one outside the off stump. So a little bit of pressure for the Knights here. We thought 140 wasn't a bad score given the sort of slow nature of the pitch. We thought 140, as I say, was about par. Certainly that's start. 2 wickets in the first 2 overs has possibly put the Lightning in the ascendancy, but as you say, T20 is such a fickle game. A couple of batters get in here, it can change very quickly.
And we have so many, we have so many good players, and great strikers of the ball, and we bat deep, so I'm still confident.
Still confident.
Hopefully we're in for a treat and a very close finish.
Yeah, the weather looks to be holding here today. We mentioned the blue skies quite a bit. We still had a couple of showers, but I think we're going to be okay. Fionn Hand comes in again. That'll be a quick single. Nicely done from Cade Carmichael. That's going to be important. It's not just going to be a boundary hitting fest here with what we've seen. We've seen T20 scores of 200 plus become commonplace, but that's not what's going to happen here. It is a difficult pitch to get in on. Once you're in, it does look a little bit easier, but these 2 have got to really work on turning strike over as well as just hitting boundaries. It's not going to be just as easy
I think
as
the
that.
rotation of the strike is going to be important, and that will help the batters to get in and get used to the pace of the wicket, and hopefully making the striking of the ball and the boundary options a little bit easier as they get in. But obviously, it's the same at all levels of cricket. The more dots that you face in a row, the more pressure they're going to be under, and certainly, more likely to make a mistake and maybe misexecute, and then another wicket falls, and and all of a sudden then you maybe have another new batsman at the wicket, or two new batsmen, and then it's harder, and time can move quite quickly in the T20, and all of a sudden the asking rate's a little bit higher than maybe what you would like it. So rotation of the strike is going to be very, very important, certainly over the next few overs, as hopefully both Kate and Ruan get themselves in.
Yeah, they're going to stick with Dylan Lewis here. Yeah, the sort of standard would be an off spinner would bowl 1 over and then come off, but just maybe with those 2 wickets in the first couple of overs, you want to keep the off spinner on here. He bowls to Carmichael on the back foot. He stops on into the leg side. Yeah, we'll maybe get into your role in the Northern Cricket Union here in a wee minute. Just with Lewis bowling, as I say, he's quite sharp through the over. That's nicely played from Carmichael.
It'll just be interesting how the two guys go about it. Usually certainly at this level of cricket, they'll look to use the power play, but obviously losing those couple of early wickets has them maybe in a little bit of dilemma where they don't want to lose another 1 or 2. So it's a wee bit of a game of cat and mouse here. There'll be part of them thinking, let's try and make use of the power play.
A terrific shot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a terrific shot from Pretorius. Again, similar to his previous boundary, on the back foot off the off spinner this time, and the crucial thing there is picking the gap on the offside. Once you've beat the infield, you want to get runs, and he's timed it well. It's been even Monil Patel, who scored 47, didn't really seem to time it that well. Pretorius, as you mentioned, has been in terrific form. Again on the back foot, and again tries to beat the field this time. And Kate Carmichael's got to do a little bit of work here. He is probably the quickest member of the Knights lineup, and it's just as well. He had to get the dive out there. Pretorius, that was a good bit of fielding from Harbinson in the covers, and almost that sort of palm across to his partner in the covers. Almost affected a run out, but Carmichael is quick. Gets through for the single. He's on strike now. 2 balls left here in the third. Nicely bowled, but well played. Carmichael, that's the thing we're talking about. A good ball. You can still score off it. Gets Pretorius back on strike. Last ball of the third here. Pretorius on 11, Carmichael 3. We get chasing 143 in this 20 over game. Just a change in the field now. Gonna bring Christopher Freitas across from the leg side just to bolster that offside even more. And he bowls on the leg side as you would sort of appreciate. Brings a man over and then bowls it down leg side. That will be 2. Closes out the over. Good over for the Knights on this occasion, and they've moved it on to 18 for 2. So yeah, obviously been very kind enough to join us here, Andrew. Just tell us a little bit about your Director of Representative Cricket, which is obviously the Northern Knights. That's the representative team for the NCU, the Northern Cricket Union, but you're also Vice Chairperson. Tell us a little bit about what that role means.
Yeah, well, I've been in the role of Director of Representative Cricket, I suppose, now for about 18 months. Before that, I was involved with Alan Wade in the domestic directorate, and I've been on the sort of board of the NCU I think about four to 5 years. But in terms of the representative cricket, I mean, obviously the Knights are the flagship team, and at the very, very top of the pyramid, but it starts right down at our under 9s. So we basically, support the staff as a directorate in organising, and structuring the pathway right from our under 9. Goes up into our under 11s, under 13s, and obviously when we get into under 13s, we both have the development side of the squads, as well as the talent squads, and we have a training winter programme and summer programme for both of those groups of players. and then we have a full match programme in the summer for them as well. And then it goes right up to our NCU under 19s that obviously play in the T20 trophy with the Section 1 teams. And, I'm delighted that they have, after a difficult year in it last year, it was the first year, that they're faring much more positively this year. And then we obviously go into the emerging nights in the future series, and then obviously the nights, and then we have the female side of the pathway as well, right up to the NCU Senior Women's, and then the Dragons obviously in the Super Series sort of sits above that. So there's quite a lot of work to it. When we came in, we've got to look at who'll sit on the directorate. Got to look at our policies as well, and in terms of our selection and restructure and formalising that. So there was we sat down. I sat down with the staff, who have been absolutely fantastic and put in an awful lot of work and try and get ideas. And we sort of came up with sort of a 3 to 5 year sort of action plan. And we, I'm pleased to say that we're well on the way to achieving, a lot of that. And we obviously this summer, our NC under 15s are going across to England to play some counties in a tour. So that was sort of it's our first step in dipping our toes into that, and we do have aspirations that we would like to take sort of each team at each age group away on a tour a year and have a home and away sort of series for them. So we're still a wee bit off that, but it's work in progress. So there's been a lot of work has went on sort of behind the scenes in the last last 18 months, and I think we are in a pretty good position at the minute, which is really, really pleasing.
Yeah, it's I mean, obviously I being around the Northern Cricket Union myself, I see a lot of the work that goes in. Just a lot of work that goes in to the Northern Cricket Union, the staff that you have, around the place. Yes, you're right, the flagship team is the guys we're looking at right now, the Northern Knights. But there's a lot of teams underneath that who are looking to get to this level. Fionn hand in again. That's been pulled by Ruan Pretorius. It's in front of square. And that's going to be good enough for another boundary for Pretorius. One earlier in the over from Carmichael. Another one picked up by Pretorius there. A little bit short from Fionn hand. And again, with the slow nature of the wicket, Pretorius is able to get that in front of square. There is a man out in that boundary, but no chance of cutting that one off. So a good over again for the Knights so far. Moved on to 27 for 2. So yeah, it's not just the Northern Knights that are the be-all and end-all for Northern Cricket Union. Yes, they're your major team. It's a wee bit like a club side. Their first 11 is the major team, but what happens underneath is vital for the continued success.
Absolutely. And I think if we get right, what is happening right from under 9 all the way up, that hopefully over time we will have that sustainability and progress year on year with the Northern Knights. And one thing that we have sort of started last year was an emerging players program that takes our best players.
Yeah, just Fionn hand to close out this over. You'll feel that one, and that's Fionn hand for you. He's a real character. Takes a big swing there and throws it back. That ends the fourth over. Another good over for the Knights. They've moved on to 27 for 2.
Yeah, so it takes our better players from all of our age groups, and they will get sort of one-to-one and small group sessions with Simon Johnson, at UUJ during the week, but also he'll try and dip in and out of their schools as well, so they're getting more contact and coaching in either one-to-one or small group sessions throughout the whole winter, which we're really seeing that now starting to benefit those sort of top players in each age group, and they also get the opportunity then to train with the emerging knights and the senior knights at times as well, which takes them out of their comfort zone as well. So that's certainly been a good way initiative.
The skipper's going to come on here to replace Donald Lewis, who bowled 2 overs off spin from this to Dundonald end. The last over of the power play from this end. There will be one further from the city end, so Sam Harbinson has come on here. And as I said a few times, they've got 3 spinners deliberately picked by the Lightning. Obviously looked at the pitch and thought spin was going to be important, and it did look like that. It's a little bit unlucky. Oh, and I misfield. I was just going to say it was a little bit unlucky for Cade Carmichael. He had played that on the leg side, beat the field. It was going to be 4, as it was. Just a little misfield there from Hamish Sidhu. Gets Carmichael back for 2. So a very important part of the game here. As we mentioned, those middle overs are going to probably be majorly spin orientated. Up goes Harbinson. Big shot down the ground from Carmichael. Doesn't get anything on it. Or does he? No, it is a leg by. So we'll have a little look at that. Possibly got outside the off stump. Yeah, we just see 2 guys walking past us there who've been very involved over the past years in Northern Cricket Union, as well as Ireland, Nigel Jones and Andrew White. Harbinson comes in here. It's driven down the ground for no run. They've been important a few years ago for setting up the pathways that you're looking at right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nigel, obviously in his new role within Cricket Ireland, Cricket Ireland's pathway, he obviously is coaching with Simon Johnson at a number of the sessions throughout the week, and in particular that EPP programme, because those guys.
Bit of work to do for Gavin Hoy. A wee bit like Cade Carmichael in the night side. Gavin Hoy is rapid around that boundary. Manages to cut it off and get it back in for 2.
Yeah, those guys that we have in the EPP are obviously in the Cricket Ireland sort of youth squads as well. So that sort of comes under Nigel's remit. So it's been great to have Nigel's experience this winter with them.
That could be out. Oh, it's just over. Fielder at mid-wicket. Just over, and that's the small margins of T20 cricket. Just gets above David Delaney there. He was back on the ring, but Pretorius gets just enough on that. You can see there, despairing leap from Delaney. Can't bring it in, and that could have been a crucial moment there. If the Lightning can get rid of Ruan Pretorius here, they'll fielder on top. Instead it goes for a boundary, and 9 more from that over. 36 for 2. Not only are you doing these representative roles and vice chairperson, I was here a couple of weeks ago, you're still turning out for CSNI. Surely the day's coming, Andrew. Surely.
Yeah, I think the days are maybe coming, but I'll keep going as long as I can.
You do that, mate. You do that.
I still very much enjoy it on a Saturday, and enjoy the changing room, and obviously play a lesser role than I used to. But still happy to play whatever role that the team needs me, to do it.
Yeah, it's the team you're playing for here at this ground here at the Ward Stormont, Civil Service North. It's David Delaney. He's going to come on now. Bowling to Carmichael. Yeah, you're here at Civil Service North of Ireland. Actually, ex-teammate of mine at Carrickfergus, but came up here a few years ago. And a really interesting team, CSNI, from my point of view, because we've watched them the last couple of years. Maybe going away from the old ways of having a lot of players coming in and out. They've decided to go with youth and have maybe 4 experienced players at the top, and then go with 5 real young cricketers who you're looking to be your team for the next 2 or 3 years to play for 10 years at this club. That's a great shot. Will it beat the man? It will. That's a lovely shot from Cade Carmichael. The extra pace of Delaney lets it come on to him, and he clips it through the mid-wicket region. Goes for 4. Nice shot from Delaney. Sorry, from Carmichael off Delaney. Yeah, lovely shot there. Beats the despairing dive and goes away for 4. Yeah, so as I was saying about CSNI, that's the plan at this club.
Yeah, we're certainly very fortunate to have, a fantastic group of young players.
Bit of a mix-up there. Lewis fields the ball.
And I suppose you have to make that, decision. Do you give the young guys, an opportunity and go down that youth? And ultimately, if you don't, the guys, will have to look elsewhere to try and get that opportunity to keep obviously pushing on, their careers and try and meet their goals. And obviously, a lot of them last year were in contention of the Under-19 World Cup, and 3 of the guys did go. Let's say 3 at that time, and then obviously Jordan Neal signed for us in the close season after the World Cup, which sort of made it 4. So, but they're a fantastic group, of guys, and they certainly work very, very hard. And we have went, and gave them that opportunity. And I suppose sometimes, consistency. You may not achieve that.
Yeah, you're going to lose games. You're going to lose games
because of the age and maybe the experience and sometimes the amount of cricket that they're playing.
Nicely played. Pretorius just able to flick that into the leg side with the boundary in the over. Happy to take the singles. Yeah, but we've seen even a couple of those players. Harry Dyer has turned out for not only the Knights, but he's now in the Red squad and playing in that. Adam Leckie's been called into the Red squad as well. So just the development of the team in that. Yes, I've looked at it from the outside, and that you're going to lose games of cricket that you probably would win with more experienced cricketers. But in the long run, that's going to be so beneficial for the club as a whole.
Yeah, certainly that's what we hope, and they'll be obviously a main part of our first 11, for the next, as you say, sort of 10 years, 15 years, and it shows the younger players further down the club that there is a pathway through the club into the first 11, and it's a great environment for them. I mean, those young players have really settled in to the first 11, now, and that was quite a seamless process, and full credit to our first 11 captain, director of cricket Stuart Thompson, for getting them in and making that process quite seamless, and building up a very good environment within the first 11, which is needed when you have a lot of young players around that age, and they play but they play prominent roles, and they're given the opportunity. Within the team, they're not all batting, 9, 10 and 11, which maybe would have happened years gone by.
Hormanson to continue from the Dunlell end. That's a little bit short. And we've seen today anything that has been short of a length has really just sat up and asked to be hit. And Pretorius does exactly that and pulls again in front of square. The pace just isn't in that pitch to be bowling short of a length. And you mentioned myself and James Cameron down the first innings, although the Knights had bowled reasonably well, the poor balls that they bowled did seem to be the shorter length deliveries that were getting hit by Patel in particular for 4. So Harbinson will really need to go a couple of feet further, and unfortunately he doesn't, but this time does rush towards a little bit, so it will just be a single. Yeah, and just looking at the union as a whole, obviously you're very involved in committees and how the union goes itself. I was actually talking to the new professional at Carrickfergus last night, and he's been really impressed with the level of play in the union. Just break off on that a little. It's down leg side, a bit tight, leg by there. Yeah, he's been really impressed by the level, the standard of cricket. He says one of the better leagues that he's played in the UK. So the NCU really, in terms of the level of play now, really is taking strides forward.
Yeah, I think the standard of the Premier League, is excellent. we sort of tend to say that every year, that it's getting stronger, and it does seem to continue to get stronger.
Nicely bowled from Harbison.
Which I think is a great thing for the union, and obviously we're starting to see it that players have moved from other unions to play their club cricket in the NCU, and it also helps the guys that are maybe going into emerging or Knights to sort of.
Oh, well bowled. That's the length we're talking about. A little bit fuller, letting the ball do a little bit rather than being short. Seems to be sitting up.
But it is something that I ask professionals from other clubs that come across that maybe have played elsewhere. What do they feel about the standard? How's it compared to other leagues in England? And I regularly get the same answer as you got.
Yeah, and the other thing is it then feeds into this level. I remember watching the game at Pembroke and the festival between the Knights and the Leinster Lightning. The Lightning won in that game. But I thought that the standard in that game was extremely high. Obviously all the internationals were available at that stage, and that lifts the level again. But I thought the standard was really high. There's your card at the minute. Morgan Topping was run out, backing up, didn't possibly get out of the blocks quick enough, and Modgill with a nice piece of cricket to actually throw down the stumps at that end. And then James McCullum just caught on the crease by Fionn Hand, and that delivery is the one that I think that the Lightning now will be looking at. Fionn Hand pitching it up, letting the ball do a little bit, nipping back to McCullum, whereas Harmison's been a little bit short and has paid the price a little bit, letting Pretorius get away. He's on 29, and Carmichael's played nicely as a foil. He's on 15, but as we've seen so far this year, particularly in the IP20, it looks like Ryan Pretorius is the man that the Lightning are going to have to get rid of here.
Yes, I think Leinster will certainly be happier to see Ryan Pretorius on his way, and certainly from a Knights perspective, the longer that Ryan stays at the crease, the more likely a Knights victory will be.
David Delaney going to continue. Good to see him fired up and coming in here. He's pushed that one down the leg side, but that'll be an extra. The one thing I would say about the unions, I think the level in the Premier League, and certainly the Leinster Union and the NCU is very level now. It's just underneath where there's a bit of a difference. Championship sides in the Leinster leagues are almost on a level with the Premier League, a couple of them at least. But I was really encouraged to see the championship sides playing really well in the Challenge Cup at the weekend in the Northern Cricket Union. They really gave a few shocks. All right, they didn't end up on the winning side. That's a lovely shot from Carmichael. It will be fielded down there by Modgill, just for one. Yeah, possibly didn't get over the line. Dariaki obviously were the one that did get over the line, but it's good to see that the other teams weren't blown away, really. There was a lot of close games there.
Absolutely, we played against Ballymena, and even though we said several times, not to go through the motions, just don't expect, the opposition to get out. That there's still a lot of good players and professionals in Section 1 and seasoned, hardened players as well. I say Ballymena done very well against us.
Delaney in again. Oh, that's dispatched. That's gone many a mile into the trees there, over towards the Knock Road. Again, just that shorter delivery, and Pretorius all over that. And he's hit that. That wasn't even a contest there. Man back on the boundary, but absolutely no chance. He's got right on that. Right in the hitting arc. That's gone for a maximum, and that takes the Northern Knights up to 56 for 2. And the first journey on today for the third umpire with the new box of balls. Top shot from Pretorius.
Yeah, Ballymena, scored 220, 222, 223 against us. And certainly we were impressed by their batting, and by no means did we bowl poorly. So I think that was very, very encouraging, and they stuck right at it, until we, obviously won the game. and I know Donaghcloney Mill, I think, got over 200, and against Instonians as well. And as you mentioned, Derryachy, caused the upset. And I think it's always great that you get one or two upsets each year.
Yeah, I was just about to say, this is something that we really need to look at here. That's the third occasion where somebody has just walked behind the bowler's arm. It's something we need to look at here. Particularly somebody wearing a white cap there would have been right on the ball had Pretorius not noticed. Just a little thing that we need to get sorted. Delaney turns again. 56 for 2. Much fuller. Pretorius is up to the challenge, but that's much more than the Lightning are looking at. Anything short is definitely going here today. I think the crucial period will be coming up in the next few overs. We're going to see certainly Gavin Hoy, Hamish Sidhu in these middle overs. But the Knights might be just banking a few runs here at the moment, so that they can be a little bit more watchful against the spin. They're well up with the rate now, as you can see on your screen. Be a dot ball on the left there. You can see the current run rate 7.6, and the run rate required is only 6.8. So they're just banking a few runs here while the seamers are on, possibly in the fact that they've seen the spin from Humphreys and Robertson was very effective.
Yeah, they'll be, the Knights will probably try and keep going here, as you mentioned before Gavin Hoy comes in the attack and try to get a blower on a ball, and therefore it's a little bit more manageable going in. And if there is, a quiet over or two, that the required run rate hasn't got ahead of itself.
That's out of the back of the hand. It's a good chance. Oh, it's been tipped over. That could be a crucial moment. Just got above beyond hand there, out on the boundary. I think he was in a little bit of two minds as to whether to catch it and throw it back in or just palm it down just to prevent the 6.
It's just
and
hard
in the end,
to know.
It's just broken through his hands.
Yeah, it's just hard to know exactly the position of his feet. Was he very, very close to the...
Yeah, he's probably a couple of feet inside the boundary there, but as I say, I think he was possibly thinking about just maybe palming it back or taking the catch, and got into a bit of two minds. But it burst through the hands, and I kind of forget now that it's actually gone for 6. 6 runs at the end of that over as well. Could have been a wicket. A big swing at the end of that over. We are going to see first. Well, obviously Dylan Lewis bowled the first over, but these two are going to be the two keys, I think. Hamish Sidhu and Gavin Hoy. Gavin Hoy with his leg spin. Sidhu's going to bowl from this Dundonald end.
Certainly a good finish to the over. As you mentioned, just 6 off the last ball there does make a bit of a difference. It was a good over for the Northern Knights. I think Fionn Ham will probably be. I think if he sees that back, he might be a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, they practice that so much now about being on the boundary. Even pre-game, they do a lot of that. Coming in, standing on the boundary. Do they flick it back, or do they try and catch it over the shoulder, or?
I think he maybe had a wee bit more space at time there than maybe what he initially realised.
Yeah, you were just chatting to me, writing a few notes there down for me. It was a 5-ball over, and it looks as if you're absolutely right.
Didn't like to be too critical there, Ali, but
it's the wide, obviously, off the first delivery's been given, and we don't often see that really. If the umpire has called it and everybody is changed and ready for the next over, they usually just say, well, it's one of those things that we've forgotten about, but they've obviously radioed out to the middle, and it's all been changed. We're back to
what can the last ball of the over do?
Maybe this could be crucial. We'll be looking back on this. In comes Delaney. It's going to be a single, nothing too dramatic, I don't think. Carmichael clips it into the leg side, so it is going to end up just a single. And and takes the score to 64 for 2, exactly 8 and over now.
That's a
bit of a strange one there.
Yeah, the Saturday you would have that. Why not use the extra ball?
Yeah.
Why not? But
yeah, usually they would just just get on with it. Put it down as a dot ball or something and just move on to the next over. So we are finally going to see Sidhu here. As I say, his left arm spin and Gavin Hoy's leg spin is going to be crucial, but we've talked about it already. We're well ahead now of the run rate. I'm just looking up at the Duckworth Lewis, which should be 58 at the moment, so they're ahead of that, but also ahead of the run rate, which is crucial now, so they can absorb a couple of overs if the bowler bowls well. And I'm also looking at the field that's been set here. Quite a tight offside field. Bowling with the spin, 2 right-handers here, of course. We'll try and squeeze on the offside. Plenty of room on the leg side, but obviously the right-handers will be playing against the spin. But that's exactly what I'm talking about there. Can they get back for 2? Carmichael is rapid. And that's just about as perfect a placement as it gets. It's tapped outside the square. We always talk about the circle. If you can just drop the ball in the circle, if the fielders are on the boundary, you're almost certainly going to get 2.
yeah, it was an excellent bit of cricket there by Kate Carmichael. Just held up maybe about the edge of the 30-yard circle, and they completed the 2.
And there's the ball we're talking about. That has spun. That has spun from middle stump, outside of off, very full. It wasn't as if it was a short ball that you could see spinning. It really was pitched up. A little bit shorter, and they'll be disappointed with that, having bowled a ball that really would have got into the head of Carmichael. He bowled that well wide. Carmichael able to cut that down, backward of point for another 2. Yeah, just that ball before, when you see a ball spinning like that, it automatically gets in your head. The next one either will do nothing, or you're playing for a lot of spin.
And it's even more difficult, against these top bowlers that have a lot of variations as well.
I think that's taken the stumps. Yeah, it has. Keith Carmichael has tried to sweep that against the spin. And very similar to the third ball of the over. It has spun past him and taken the off stump.
Just looked to be a little bit slower, possibly.
He may well have held that back. Carmichael threw the shot. Either way, he's gone for 27, just as the Knights were certainly getting on top. We'll see it again here now. You can see the spin that City is getting. It's just drifting into leg stump. You see it pitches on leg. And it's just spun past the bat and taken a little bit of Carmichael's body. And he may be feeling a little bit unfortunate there that didn't mean just rebound off him away from the stumps. Just didn't get enough of the hip into that. And it's hit his off stump, and he's gone for 27. So there's a good partnership there between Pretorius and Carmichael. City's come on, and the spin we talked about has been successful. An interesting entry now for Sam Topping. We talked about it in the last innings, that right hand, left hand. This could be crucial here. Left hander much easier against left arm spinning into you. But with left hand, right hand, then with Hoey coming on from the other end, then you do have the opportunity of taking the better risk with the left hander here. So Topping's got a very important innings to play here. Bonus runs, real bonus runs here. It will go to the boundary, it will indeed. That's an absolute bonus for the Knights. Tight little over, and then they get the bonus of 5 wides. And again, maybe that left-hander, that would have been the ball to the right-hander, but just drifting down legs.
I'll play it down the ground. to long on for one. It certainly gives the bowler a little bit more to think about, and they've got to keep adjusting. Their line and length, and they're bowling to two different, players as well. So there's a little bit more pressure. They just maybe can't get into that rhythm that they could with the two right-handers. So a little bit more for the bowlers to think about. But another good over for the Knights there, 10 off it, and hopefully, Sam and Ruan can again build another partnership for the next 4 or 5 overs.
Yeah, as I mentioned there, just a real sort of youngster coming into the team. Obviously, Sam Topping's over at Sussex, really, but playing a little bit for Warringstown this year. And just come into this team, he's been made to feel, I was talking to him a few weeks back, he's been made to feel really welcome. Obviously, his brother's already in the team, but when you come into a new team, it's never easy just to fit in. They've really made him fit in. That's something that Simon Johnson's really pushed in this team and really developed over the last, him and Market there as well, have really pushed over the last couple of years.
Yeah, both, Simon's done a tremendous job since he's, been in post, and certainly, Market there taking over from what would have been Gary Wilson then, has done a tremendous job as well. And you mentioned Sam coming in, and it was a no-brainer. Sam's obviously came right up through our pathway, and with Neil Rock going to obviously the World Cup, there's the opportunity to get Sam over and give him more exposure of our interprovincial cricket, which he has jumped at, and certainly has settled in very, 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 very well.
Yeah, big test for him here now, though. Gavin Hoy, holding his leggies. That's a little short to start with from Hoy. Topping gets on that. Doesn't try and hit it too hard. It's a good thing. Takes his single. That's Pretorius. Look after Gavin Hoy for a bit, possibly. That's kind of what we're talking about those bank runs. That Sam Topping can come in now and knock it about for ones and twos, absorb the odd dot ball. Doesn't have to go searching for boundaries at the minute. And maybe let Pretorius take the pressure for a while. Oh, he's got away with that one. Both the bowler and the batter.
Yeah.
Because Gavin Hoy's dropped that short. Normally, you would expect that to be deposited over the mid-wicket boundary, but Pretorius missed out, and in a way was quite fortunate not to have that dragged on. Yeah, nice shot from Pretorius into the offside. It's Tim Tector out there, who is also very quick on the boundary, and he keeps it down to 1. And that's important. Little things like that are important. That could have gone for 2. Got Pretorius back on strike, but it means now that Hoy's got another couple of balls to bowl at Sam Topping.
Certainly every run counts when it comes to T20 cricket. You go into the last over, or last couple of overs, every run saved like that does make a difference. Cut
into the offside, just be 1. Yeah, but this is what we've discussed, in that these guys can just knock it around for 4 or 5 and over now in these middle overs. Just isn't as much pressure, and Sam coming in when the required rate's just marginally over a run of ball. It's very different if it's 8, 9s and 10s, and over he doesn't have that time, and he needs to strike from ball 1. So yeah, crucial game here, as we've mentioned a few times. The Knights, this will be a big game for them. We cut into the offside for 1. Yeah, obviously tomorrow we've got an IP20 cup match between these two here. That will be a big game in that tournament, but after that then the provincials take a little break, a little pause until August. So if the Lightning can win this game, that'll really almost sew up the IP20 trophy. But conversely, if the Knights can win it, they then go into the break just 1 effectively game behind the Lightning. So these next 10 overs, as they're coming up, that is the 10th over completed. So halfway through the innings, 78 for 3. So they're just over half the run, 65 required. And you can see there, just from around the 7th over, the Knights have just put the pedal down. When the seamers were on there, they picked up a few big overs and just got ahead of that light blue line. And as the spinners are going to be in tandem here, you may see that line come together a little bit, but that's exactly where the Knights have got into position now. 3 wickets down. Pretorius set on 38. Sam Topping's just come to the crease on 3. So 65 to win from 60 deliveries. That open space on the leg side, but a little bit more bat on that. Gets it down to Fionn Hand. Just a single. Blue shirts running everywhere at the minute. That's the left hand, right hand. That's another effect of left hand, right hand. The fielders obviously can't stay in the same position. So they've got to move about quite a bit. You know, as a fielder, you like to be in the same position every ball if you can.
That's also a little bit more pressure on the captain and the bowler as well, with the field continually to move.
Real interesting innings here from Sam Topping. It's a bit of a different T20 innings. He doesn't, as we've mentioned a few times, he doesn't have to come out and go from ball 1 here. That might bring its own pressure, but that'll be another wide. Yeah, these are extras that the Lightning can ill afford. Also gets Pretorius back on strike.
Just helps to relieve the pressure on Sam and the Knights as well. Just those. And obviously the round one as well, so it's 2 more to the total.
That means there's 3 off 2 balls here in this over. Oh, I thought Pretorius was eyeing up a big shot there, but he just checked himself. Safe enough, he hasn't really gone through with that shot. Happy to hit it into the open space on the leg side, knowing that there's no fielders in the ring. Happy to take one.
Sidney is actually just varying his pace quite nicely, so he is. That's another one that he just pulled up a little bit slower.
Yeah, it's very similar delivery to Carmichael. Again, a little bit of hesitation. Come to this end. Topping's home though. Yeah, it was a very similar ball, that ball that Pretorius swept, the one that Carmichael tried to sweep as well. Maybe spun a little bit more. Yeah, as we mentioned, big summer here at Stormont. Not only playing lots of interprovincial cricket we've had over the past few weeks. There's the quicker delivery. Pretorius is on it. Hits it down. And it's gone for 4. He's picked the gap. It's a class shot from Ryan Pretorius. It's not the actual shot itself, it's the placement, the timing. He picks up a boundary off the last ball. He dropped a little bit short from Sidhu. That could quite easily have gone just for a single. He's got it in the gap. Beats the man. And long off for a boundary. A big over then. Really.
Yeah, as you've mentioned a few times, Alan, it's just that length, that's just it's a fraction short, Sidhu, and it's been well put away by Ryan Pretorius. It's just those that are dropped that little bit shorter, both by the seamers and the spinners. And Ryan certainly hasn't missed out on any of them.
Yeah, as we've mentioned a few times now, he's banging form. He's closing in on a half century, 44 at the moment for Pretorius. Topping quite happy to play the anchor role here at the moment. He's on 4. 87 for 3 from 11. Going at just about 8 and over. More than they require. Those runs to win against the balls remaining are just about to level out. So yeah, we mentioned a big year here at Stormont, all those interprovincial games, and obviously being a member of this club, as it were. Really big thing to have the test match coming here the end of July.
Yeah, certainly from a club's perspective, it's great, but also from an NCU perspective, it's fantastic to be hosting. Obviously, the second Test match on the Isle of Ireland, but the first one, to be in Northern Ireland. So, it really, I think, will be a fantastic occasion, and hopefully.
Don't say it. Don't say the weather.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, catch
Don't
yourself on
mention
there.
the weather.
But hopefully everybody comes out, and supports Ireland, and we get a really, really big crowd. I know there's a lot of work that's going on behind the scenes, with the NCU. So hopefully the occasion gets the sort of PR and publicity that it deserves.
I think that's a really good point, that it's not just about the cricket. It is an event. If you ever go to a Test match in England, you go to Lord's or Trent Bridge or Old Trafford or something, it is an event. It's not just about the cricket. People go for the day, really enjoy themselves at a day at the cricket. I certainly think that first day will be a major event, not just for cricket but the whole country. I think it'll be a really major event that day. And as you say, hopefully we can get a good crowd out. Tickets are on sale, of course. I'll give that plug.
Yep.
Tickets already on sale over to Cricket Ireland's website. You can see tickets not only for the Test match but also a very big series coming up, a couple of series for Ireland's women in September. We've got Sri Lanka coming, and then of course the big card of England coming in September. So you can get tickets for all of those games, Test match and all the women's internationals later on in the year. Gavin Hoy on, floated that one up, and that's beautifully bowled from Gavin Hoy. Tempted Sam Topping into the drive. Topping it had been quite comfortable off the back foot, working it around for ones and twos, getting Pretorius back on strike. So Hoy's realised that. He's given that one a little bit of flight. Drawn, Topping into the drive. And has beaten that drive. And Sam Topping has to go. Bowled by Hoy for 4. 87 for 4. See it again. Just a little bit more flight from Hoy. Really nice piece of bowling. Let's turn it into the left-hander, beating that drive. As I say, Topping did look to be happy enough to sit on the back foot and just work it around for ones. But as soon as he's brought forward there, that's the length we've been talking about. He really needs to be full on this pitch. And that's just the breakthrough the Lightning really needed. It was ticking along here for the Knights, and that has brought Jason van der Merwe out to the crease. His return to Knights colours. Played in the festival last season, but sort of fell out of favour in the T20. But certainly for his club side CIYMS last year and his new club side Muckamore this year, he has shown plenty of ability for clearing the ropes. I remember watching him in the T10 European tournament. Wow, what a ball he could hit that tournament. I know it's a hitting fest, but wow, he was like man of the series last year. But maybe a different role here for him. He needs to work around Pretorius, get himself into this innings.
It's another batter, in form, and again, sort of T20 cricket does suit Jason, so he's been brought back in. And again, another man, in form that started the season extremely well. But the Lightning will keep fancying here, if they keep taking regular wickets, that a little bit of pressure. We'll go back onto the Knights.
You can see they've already trying to put a little bit of pressure on them to get him to play against the spin. Got to slip in now. Sam Robinson's come straight in after that last delivery, which turned quite a lot. Van der Merwe likes to feel bad on ball. He doesn't like to leave too many deliveries. I know you don't normally do that in T20, but he likes to get going straight away.
And it is important batters that are coming in do play their natural game. Once they go away from that and they try and change the way that they bat, can sometimes be their downfall. And all of a sudden we lose another 1 or 2 wickets in the scoreboard looks very different, and that's what the Lightning, I'm sure, will be saying to them, that another 1 or 2 here, and it's very, very different.
Oh, and there's more bonus runs for the Knights. Just going to look up. I don't think it's going to be called wide. Well, actually it is. I didn't think it was that wide. Seamus Lynch can't get across. So I'm doing him a little bit of a disservice. Just have a look at it here again now. Yeah, it did turn a little bit. Take that back. I think it was just the initial trajectory of the ball. Then it did spin off the wicket. So I think the wide call was fair enough, but it's another 5 extras. And that really just the free runs for the Knights, really, and something that Coach Andre Burt is going to be really looking at. The game doesn't go the Lightning's way here. Oh,
miss stumping.
That is a miss stumping. Pretorius played all round that. Seamus Lynch possibly just came up a little bit early there. Pretorius just overbalanced. Chance there. That could be crucial. Man on 44. The Lightning can get rid of Pretorius. And he's causing a few problems here, similar to what Humphreys and Robertson did at that end for the Knights. He's the one that seems to be causing more problems here, Gavin Hoey. But the Knights survive in the end. 95 for 4. And exactly 48 runs wanted. 48 balls remaining. Oh, I'm pretty sure we're going to get a game in here now, Andrew. Looking above us, the blue skies. Belfast have finally come out today. Yep. Bit of sunshine. Hopefully that'll hold for tomorrow's IP20 game back here.
It's such a shame when when these games, just because there is so few of them in the IP series, if they are curtailed by weather, it must be very frustrating for the players and the coaches. It's not like county cricket where there's games and several games every single week. So hopefully the weather stays fair for everybody tomorrow as well.
So Van der Merwe is going to be on strike here now to sit out. See the other effect of Sam Topping getting out is that 2 right-handers. That's an absolute beauty, and that has taken. This time Lynch takes the ball, and has just turned Jason Van der Merwe all around, floated up on the leg stump, pitched on leg, and just brought Jason Van der Merwe out of his crease, toppled over, lost his balance, through to Lynch, and this time Seamus Lynch makes no mistake. I think Amish City might roll this pitch up and take it away with him, because that has turned a long way. Yeah, pitched on leg and missed off quite a bit. So another wicket falls, and this game is back in the balance.
Yeah.
So 96 for 5 now. Still 47 runs required for the Northern Knights. Normally you would say it's a fairly decent equation, but the wicket is still doing plenty. These spinners not easy to get after.
It'll just be interesting for the Lightning. I was going to say just before that wicket, how many do they bowl, both Sidhu and Hoy, but they'll probably feel that this is their best chance to win the game by bowling both straight through here and trying to take as many wickets as they possibly can.
Yeah, I think so. They've got Sidhu's halfway almost through his third, so he's got 1.5 or so left. 2 overs from Hoy. So that's 4, let's say. That'll take you up to 16. Don't forget, Donald Lewis also has 2 left. But now we've got the left-hander in again. That will really help the Knights. Tyrone Kuhn is in now. He played quite well recently as well, just in this particular role. These two will know each other pretty well. It does look as if it's a Pretorius game now, doesn't it? If he was to lose his wicket now in the next sort of 10 to 15 runs even, you sort of look down at what's to come here. We're looking at Humphreys, who can certainly bat. Robertson, Foster and Mays. So be into the bowlers. It's leading edge. I'll get away with that for one. But it's just even the conference at the dressing room and the dressing tent over there. We'll be sitting looking out there. If Pretorius is there, the confidence levels will be high. If he was to get out, just the people coming in know that somebody else has got to step up then. And while Pretorius is there, I think the game is still the Knights there to win.
It's very, very different going out there to, to bat with somebody who is set there, and that's certainly more comfortable to do that than again to have two new battlers at the at the crease, and especially if it maybe battling isn't their primary skill set, let's say, but it's certainly more comfortable for the bowlers to go out with Ruan still going at the other end.
Yep, so 98 for 5. It could be that, as we mentioned, this is a time that it's not really a normal game for these two. Fairly aggressive. Maybe just to work around Hoyt. Take those 1s and 2s if they come available, and only if he bowls a really bad ball look for the boundary, because we've mentioned it all day, spin has looked, although seam has taken the majority of the wickets really, the spinners have looked the most dangerous on show. As I say, the right hand left hand will be only bowling to the left hander again. Cohen only in the crease. 1 from 1 just. Slip in. Mark Gill moved in to slip. That's the ball. Nicely bowled from Hoyt. Giving it a little bit of air to the new batter. Bowl a great deal of wrong on Gavin Hoyt. That's a serious towel he's got at the back of his shorts.
Yeah, watch him trip on it.
Yeah. I tell you what. Slightly shorter. Surely that would put you off. I mean, I haven't batted in a long time. But in fact, that's gone for a boundary. It's just been pushed into the offside for a single, but really well timed from Tyrone Coon. It's gone for a boundary. We'll see it again here. I literally just thought that was being pushed into the offside for 1. He's really placed that well. Right there. Yeah, right between the two. Picks up a boundary, and that brings up the 100 for the Knights. That's that psychological barrier, just getting through that 100. Bringing the runs down to 40. That'll just be 1 more. It's nice cricket. Tyrone Coon. That boundary comes off a ball where he's not taking a big risk. He's just, as I say, I thought he was just knocking it into the offside for 1. Ends up with 4, so no major risk there. And then taps the next one for a single. So 5 from 2 balls, more than the Knights require.
Yeah, it's good cricket there. Just following up, as you say, that boundary, with a single, and get back up the other end and give it back to Ruan. And again, 6 off the over already, with 2 balls remaining.
Good comeback from Hoyt. And you can see plenty of space on the leg side. And that's exactly what Pretorius is trying to do there. He's trying to work that against the spin into the leg side. And that's instigated. Slip coming in now. Don't think that's a bad ploy, to be fair. Lightning really could do with taking the wicket of Pretorius. They're squeezing here because they brought a boundary rider up into the cover area as well. Can Hoey get the wicket? And he bowls a bad ball. That's the worst ball he's bowled so far. It'll only go for a single. That wasn't threatening. Easy single for Pretorius, and that's all the Knights really need to do. As you mentioned, Andrew, 7 comes off the over with little risk involved. And there you can see very, very similar to the Lightning, in that one batter seemed to be getting it done. It was Patel for the Lightning, but no real support. Carmichael was playing well, but lots of single figures there for the Knights. That's just kept the pressure on here. It'll be up to, just as well as Pretorius is important, it'll be up to Tyrone Coon to try and stick with them and just tick this over, because the run rate's not an issue. Going to turn back to Dylan Lewis now. Off spin now. It'll be a little bit easier for Pretorius, you would think. Ball round the wicket. Just spearing it into the stumps.
Yeah, they have
49.
They have just sort of kept one of Sidhu. And it'll be interesting what they do at the other end there as well.
Well, Pretorius was on 91 last week in the IP20 game. Looked an absolute nailed on for 100. And he tried that shot and just lobbed it straight to 45. And he kicked his bat the whole way off. So, I know it's an instinctive shot, but I would have thought he just wanted to knock it around here against the off spinner. He'll get one there to long off. Nice and comfortable. And he goes to yet another half century. It really has been Ryan Pretorius's May and now into June. And he's been in fine form. His club side Woodville sit unbeaten at the top of the NCU Premier League, which nobody would have predicted. But they have turned over Warringstown last weekend, and that was the first time that Pretorius hasn't really performed. And he's doing it for his club side. He's been doing it for the Knights, and he's doing it again today. That's good. Tyrone Coon gets out to the pitch of the ball. Again, no risk. Driven into the offside. Takes the 1. So just 2 from the over, but that'll not be a problem for the Northern Knights. Still 5 overs to go at the end of this. Oh, that's the moment. That could have been the moment. Pretorius tried to smash that ball down past the bowler. It's a bottom edge. Misses the stumps and goes for 2. Crucial moment there.
Yes, that was nearly dragged on there. I think he just tried to give himself a wee bit of room outside leg stump to maybe head it through the covers, and whether it's kept a fraction lower, just sort of skidded on. It's a bottom edge, and it could be too far away from leg stump.
Last ball of the 15th. Yeah, that's a better shot for me. That's a better shot for me. Just stays nice and still on that occasion and does exactly what you said that he was trying to do the last ball, except you sort of too much movement, was off balanced that time. You can see the really steady base there and was able to get his hands through the ball. And again, the best thing about it is he picks the gap, gets a boundary, and what was a decent over from Lewis in the end. That boundary at the end there makes it go for 8, and again more than enough for the Northern Knights. 1-1-3 for 5.
Just as Leinster were probably looking there, 1 ball to go, let's get out of the over and bank a few runs and win that over. And Ruan last ball has hit that 4 to turn it the other way and you know, win the over for the Knights. So again, it's just those small margins in T20 cricket, and in particular, you know, at this level do make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. We're back to a run of ball now, 30 from 30. Beautifully bowled again from Hoy. He has bowled well. I have to say, he's been causing problems. Certainly looking forward to the game tomorrow when he's got a 10 overs in his bank. He took 6 for 26 rather here last year, and he could be a handful tomorrow. Just looking forward. And he's still got a job to do here. The 5 balls he's got left. Slid into leg stump. Tyrone Coon doing a really good job here for the Knights. Doing exactly what's required. No risk cricket from him. Can Hoy get rid of Pretorius? This is what his skipper needs right now. 4 balls left. He'll get off strike. It could be overthrow here. It just ran through a little bit. Good work on the boundary there, just to make sure there is no overthrow. Pretorius gets through for 1. That's in the air and just over the cover fielder, and the luck is just running the Knights' way at the minute. Robinson, the man at cover there. That was uppish. Tyrone Coon, but he just got enough on it. Yeah, just those 50-50s are going the Knights' way right now. 2 balls left for Hoy. And Pretorius has gone to try and hit that out of the ground. Is it going to land in the middle? Would you believe it? That has gone many a mile in the air. And up to half a dozen of Leinster Lightning's fielders were running in on that. And you thought, surely somebody's going to get under it. But you can see them coming from everywhere. Swarm of bees. And the ball drops almost perfectly in the middle of them. And you have to say, I was just mentioning the 50-50s are going the Knights' way. That's a huge moment.
He certainly, as a Leinster player, you'd... Oh, there's another one.
This is unbelievable at the moment.
Just kicked off his stumps.
Wow.
Good old-fashioned size 10 there to the rescue.
Just been chopped straight down, and he's had about 2 goes at it. You can see he just chops that down, thinks I better kick this, misses it, and then kicks it
it's
away.
It's like Irish League football there, Ali, eh?
That's unbelievable. He's done well not to kick his stumps there, but that over could have been 2-3 wickets in that over, and it ends up going for 4. And Hoy's bowled out 1 for 23, and the fact that he's bowled out now will be a huge fillip for the Northern Knights, because he's been the one that's really been looking, really threatening every ball there, really.
And you will just be thinking as a Leinster player, things just aren't going, for you, or it's not just going to be your day. And as I say that...
Have you spoke too soon there, Andrew Cowden? As you say that, that's a wicket for Don Lewis. I think Ryan Pretorius has yorked himself there. He's gone back to try and smash that over the offside, but I think he's yorked himself there. And he has gone for 58, a very well-made 58, another excellent innings, opening the batting today for the Knights. But is that wicket, that little opening that the Lightning needed? Pretorius goes for 58.
Just see it again, I think he did play it all.
Yeah, he has. You're right. I thought he'd yorked himself. You could see the ball going across with the angle. And probably was there to be hit. And he's just got an inside edge. But we'd mentioned 3 or 4 balls in that previous over went the Knights' way. Pretorius should have probably gone 2 balls earlier when he tried to sky that in the air. And it was an interesting change of momentum from Pretorius. And he whacks a pair of gloves, frustration over towards the tent. But you can just see a little change in his momentum there. He was trying to hit. They got through that period where they were just working 1s and 2s, and he maybe just wanted to get a couple of boundaries that would really close out the game, but he's perished.
And as we've said, that the run rate's under control, but at the same time, the Knights won't want to leave it all to the last over or leave too big an ask off the last. So they would probably be trying to win it or do the lion's share of the work, in the 19th over.
Yep, so that's brought Tom Mays out to the wicket. No mug with the bat, of course. This is pressure on now. The Lightning can see an opening here now. And sometimes when you've been on top in the game, it suddenly turns the other way a little bit. That pressure just feels a little bit more when you should really be winning the game. You would look at that now, 25 from 22 with 4 wickets in hand. Can we get the squeeze on here? Oh, and that's in the air, and again a little bit of luck. Come to this end and could be a run out. A little bit of crazy cricket there.
And all of a sudden, on TK, he's now not playing second fiddle and doesn't have Ruan at the other end. And he will then feel that, a little more pressure on him, and he's maybe got to do a little bit more, of the work. And sometimes that pressure can do funny things in our sport.
Certainly. That's nicely played from Tom Mays into the gap. Take one. Let me just absorb a little bit. We're now closing in on the end of the 17th over. There'll only be 3 overs left after this, and it can creep up on you. As you've mentioned, Andre, you don't want to be taking it down to the last over needing 9 or 10. But another wicket now. That could have been it. You can see Tyrone Cohen trying to take down the spinner. Playing with the spin possibly might be the better option right to the offside. He's trying to take it down leg side. He's come down the wicket. Oh, and it's been under edged. And this has been an incredible passage of play here. There's almost a wicket of ball here. Tyrone Cohen came down the track there and would have been stumped by a country mile, bar the fact that he got an under edge on that, which took it away from Seamus Lynch. And the ball, even then, almost popped up into the wicket-keeper's gloves. Tyrone Cohen survives. It's 23 off 18, just the 3 from that. Dylan Lewis over.
Sort of seen in the last couple of overs, just that rate maybe just going up a little fraction. And Leinster Lightning again will be thinking, if we get another one or 2 wickets here, there's going to be massive pressure, on the Knights and quite a lot to do.
Very much so. Always bowled out, so the keeper's up to the stumps, so that would suggest that it's going to be Amish Sidhu, which it looks to be. So, yeah, what do you think the Knights should do here now? Obviously, spin, as we talked about, has been the most threatening. There's only 1 over from Sidhu, and then obviously Harbinson's going to have to turn back to 2 of his seamers.
Yeah, the last 2 overs are going to be seams, so I mean the conversations between the 2 batters will be, how many do they think that they can get off those two overs, and what's the level of risk going to be against Sidhu. At the same time, I don't think they can just afford 2 or 3 off it. They've got to try and rotate here.
Down the ground. Just be a single.
Tom Mays has certainly executed very well when he's come in. He's hit the ball and timed it nicely. Yeah. 3 shots straight down the ground each time.
Well, it's been difficult coming in. Hasn't been easy by the look of it. So a real interesting game we've got on our hands here now. So he just pulls out of that one. Maybe having a look at what Tyrone Cohen was thinking maybe. But a real interesting game we've got here now, and crucial to this IP20 trophy. The Warriors and the Reds will be watching this game. They'll be hoping that the Knights get over the line. The Lightning can close this trophy out here. Slower ball. That's got to be fielded. That's crucial. That's a real bad misfield from Sam Harbinson at cover. That should have been a dot ball. Instead, it's gone for 4, and those little moments continue to just go for the Knights. serious spin there from Sidhu. Yes, it was slow. Very slow delivery and slow off the track. That should have been cut off. It's clothed into the ground. That boundary makes such a difference now because, again, they can take a few dot balls now. Just work it around for a couple of singles now. Oh, he's come down the track to try and hit that out of the park. He's trying to hit that in the Stormont Pavilion. Obviously, they've decided that they're not going to push ones here.
Yeah.
Try and take it down now. Should be just one. Right to long off is just one, so one ball left in the over. 6 from it. We're down to 17 from 2.1. The sun breaks through here again. We're having to shield our eyes, believe it or not. I'm trying to see the action out there. It just floated up outside the off stump from Sidhu, but he can't get that wicket that the Lightning really craved. 6 from that over, that crucial boundary that went through Harbinson. Should have been a dot ball, and if it had been a dot ball, we'd be looking at 21 off the last 2. Sidhu's bowled well. It's been good conditions for him, you have to say, but he's got 2 for 28. And it's down to the last 2. We've got a cracking game here at Stormont with the T20 trophy pretty much on the line today. As we've mentioned, if the Lightning can win this, they'll go to 24. The team in second will be on 12. So pretty much a 3-game lead going into the final third of the tournament. So, as I say, the other 3 teams will be hoping that the Knights get up here, try and tighten up that table. So Sam Harbinson has turned to his most experienced seam bowler, Fionn Hand. Going to bowl this the 19th from the Dundalk end. Sometimes this is the crucial one, Andrew.
Yeah, I think so, and that's maybe why Fionn is bowling this one, because it's a change of ends for him. He bowled from the City end in his first 2 overs, so yeah, it'll. This is going to be a big say this over, I think.
Here we go, and into Kuhn, and Kuhn has gone for it, and it's right down the throat of deep mid wicket, and the catch is taken out there. And is that a crucial moment? We've mentioned over the past 10 to 15 minutes, everything has gone the Northern Knights' way. Is that the little change of luck? Because Tyrone Kuhn got right a hold of that. And a couple of yards either way, that may well have even gone for 6. But instead, he's picked out the man. I think it was Chris DeFreitas out there. He's picked him out. And the 7th wicket has fallen. You can see Fionn Hand going into the pitch. Got a good connection there, Tyrone Kuhn, but picked the man right on the boundary. Didn't have to move. Is that a crucial moment in the game?
It certainly lifted spirits there in the Leinster Lightning team. You know, you can just see a change in body language, even within the Leinster team, and even the sort of Knights batsmen walking in. So it's always strange in T20 cricket just how the ebb and the flow of it. You have to say that the Knights now are maybe under a little bit more pressure.
Oh, most certainly. You've got Matthew Humphreys has been summoned out to the middle. He can definitely play. There's no doubt about it. They can all hold the bat here, but it's the situation that's really going to cause the issues here. 7 down now. Have a few changes in the field here. Fionn Hand will go through his repertoire here, bowl that one into the pitch, and Tyrone Kuhn managed to pick out the man at mid wicket. So here he comes now, Hand into Humphreys. A big swing and a miss from Matthew Humphreys. Is that the way to go here? It's now 17 off 10. As you mentioned, Andrew, this is how quickly a game can change. We're now into this territory where one ball can just change everything here. A dot ball or a 4. Swing momentum. And that's been hit into the air. Tim Tector has to shield his eyes. Oh, and he can't pull it back in.
And right on cue, we have a
boundary.
A boundary, and then that's a great effort by Tim Tector, because he's jumped inside the rope, and his body's obviously in mid-air beyond the rope, and he's tried to hit that back into the field of play, with obviously none of his body, touching the ground outside the rope. So a great effort there.
You can see Tim Tector takes off there inside the rope, tries to palm it back.
Great effort by Tim Tector.
This is quite amazing here, because I'll just see this ball out now. Hand in again. Humphreys scored it out on the offside. The way the sun is here at the minute, Andrew, myself and yourself are having to shield our eyes, but I watched Fionn Hand running in there. He actually put his hand up above his, in the same way as we're doing, above his eyes, because he couldn't see. No. And the same with Tim Tector when that ball was hit. Really low sun here. And it's proven very difficult.
It'll be even more difficult for the batter in the last over.
Yeah.
Trying to bat from this end.
Looking straight into the sun. You can see Fionn Hand again, just lifting his left hand there. Anyway, here he comes. And Tom May steps away and gives himself too much room. And Fionn Hand, well, he sees well enough. He's bowled a really good ball there, up in the block hole. And he's picked up another wicket. So, as we mentioned, the swings and roundabouts of T20 cricket. Matthew Humphreys claimed a 4 off his second ball to maybe swing it back towards the Knights. Fionn Hand says, I'm having none of that. And he's grabbed it back for the Lightning with a ball. You can see there, he just lifts his hand up to shield his eyes. But as I say, he's seeing it well enough here. That's a good ball into the block hole. Takes the wicket. Trademark celebration. Fionn Hand picks up another, and it's 131 for 8. The Knights still need 12.
It's a good decision so far, anyway, by the Leinster captain to bring Fionn on for that penultimate over. But as you say, only 12 to win, and it's nowadays it's just 2 balls wins that. So it's you wouldn't know what way to go here, but certainly a very good penultimate over here by Fionn Hand. That's certainly is giving Leinster a better chance of winning, or putting them maybe slightly on top at this stage.
Well, it's a cracking game here at Stormont. Hope you're enjoying it. Here comes Hand again. That's hit by Robertson, and he'll just hold it, I think. Yes, he will. Let the single go. So we're down to that last over, and it'll be 11 needed to win for the Northern Knights. Just looking up here to see who's going to get the poison chalice. Looks like it's probably going to be the skipper by the look of it. He's going to do it himself. And some conversation that's going to be between Robertson and Humphreys. It'll be Kane Robertson who's on strike. The 2 left arm spinners who did so much to restrict the Lightning. Well,
now they have to do it with a bat.
They got to do it with a bat now. It'll just go out the window. Their 8 overs of spin will go out the window now if they can't get this over the line. Just looking at the field here. Just got 1 man out on the boundary in the offside square. And long off, I think, will go back. Yeah, Fionn Hand will go back to long off. They've got long on that boundary on the leg side. You've got a deep square and a deep mid wicket. Here comes Harbinson into Robertson. Swings it into the leg side. It's in the gap. Great piece of fielding out there. Drags it in, keeps it to 2. That could be crucial. Yeah, that could be crucial from Tim Tector
again. Yeah, and that's two runs saved.
Yeah, that would have been the start that the Knights really wanted. So you get that for 4. Instead, it's just 2. So still in a difficult equation here for either side. 9 off 5. One ball can win it either way here. Harbinson in round the wicket again. Oh, and that's unbelievable. That's a full toss outside the off. Robertson's tried to club that on the leg side. Has missed out. Possibly out of the back of the hand there from Harbinson. But if he'd have played that on the offside, Cian Robertson. Big space out there.
It's vital probably just to try and get back on ball there and get one and get Matthew Humphreys, who can strike a ball very, very nicely, maybe back on strike. But instead it's a dot ball.
Yeah, I think he tried to play that leg side. Where's he going now? That's outside off.
It's a
no
ball.
Ball.
I don't believe
Would you believe it? It's a no ball.
Is it the front line? Is it the sideline? Is that what the bowler's asking?
Well, Harbinson is not happy with that call, but Ronnie Black's called a no ball there.
It's a free hit.
And it's a free hit. Is that the moment? You can see Harbinson on his knees almost there. So they get the single. They get the extra. And now we've got a free hit with Matthew Humphreys on strike. So that's just a moment, really. I could well have swung this game again. But then if this ball goes for a dot and we don't get any runs off this, it swings right back to the
again.
Lightning. So incredible stuff here at the Ward. We close in here. It's almost difficult for us to see now. Here comes Harbinson. It's a free hit to Matthew Humphreys. He's got a bit of that. It'll only be a single though, I think. Yeah, fee on hand. Collects and throws it in. So we're going right down to the wire here. 137. 6 required. 3 balls to come. Cian Robertson back on strike here. Got to keep the end of the foot behind the line or inside it. Here comes Harbinson. That's in the air. Man comes in from long on. Is it going to be short of him? It's going to be short of him. And they're going to get back for 2. It's almost perfect there from Robertson. Didn't get enough on it. So he gets back for 2. So we're down now to 4 from 2. How's this for a commentary debut, Andrew?
Wow.
4 from 2.
Action-packed, certainly, anyway.
I'll tell you what. There's been some game here at the Ward Stormont between these two, and it is absolutely crucial. These 2 balls could decide where this trophy goes at the end of the year. Just looking.
Or will it be a tie?
Don't mention it. Don't mention it. In comes Harbinson. Going to bowl to Robertson. It's a little bit shorter. They've got to run it by. It's got through Lynch. They've run it by. Just checking the umpire. Yes, it is a bye. So they get through for 1. 140 for 8. 1 ball to come. 3 runs required for victory. 2 for the super over, as it were. So what does Matthew Humphreys do here? Don't forget there's been a no ball, a free hit in this over.
Well, very importantly, I think here is Cian Robertson, because he's got to get out of the blocks quickly. He's got to get down, he's got to get turned, and he's got to get back, regardless of nearly where
the ball goes.
Matthew hits it.
So we're all set here. Here comes Harbinson. What can Humphreys do? Pulls it outside off, and the Lightning are going to be victorious here. Harbinson punches the air, gives a high five to Mudgill. His teammates run in. He's done the business here. And what a cracking game at the Ward Stormont here. The Lightning have prevailed. Their 142 for 9 has proved enough. And the crucial wicket of Ruan Pretorius changed this game. He was seeing the Knights home, and he played on. The Lightning saw their chance and picked up wickets towards the end. And they have won this game by, let's say it, the barest of margins.
Yeah, a fantastic game of cricket, and it's been played there. The Leinster will be delighted to get over the line there, and that'll be a hard one probably for the Knights to take, I would imagine. They will feel that they were in control for large parts of that run chase. But you've got to give the Leinster Lightning credit for keep going and keep believing, especially through those middle overs when the run rate had got down just sort of on or just below a run of ball, and give the bowlers credit for the way they bowled the last three overs there. And as you mentioned, Ruan Pretorius's wicket was certainly a big factor, in that result. But I thought, the Knights will be disappointed, and they will certainly feel that that's one that's got away. The good thing is that they don't have long now to think and dwell on it. They're back here tomorrow, and they'll want to correct that and try and get another victory in the IP20 competition tomorrow.
Yeah, well, it was a fantastic game of cricket here. As usual, when you get a good game of T20, it ebbs and flows the whole way. No different here today. Right the way through the game. They come down to that last over. And they're going all the way back to the Lightning innings. They won the toss and decided to bat. Got off to a reasonable start, but then Pretorius knocked them back with a couple of wickets. Modgill for 11, Tector for 15. Monial Patel coming in on debut. Started off like a house on fire. But then it got difficult when the spinners came on. They took regular wickets in the middle order there. Nobody really got hold of it. And 47 from Patel was the standout innings. Nobody else really got going. And 142 was the total. There's the Knights bowling. Pretorius again, excellent with the new ball. Ended up with 3 for 25, but it was the spinners of Robertson and Humphreys that really dragged it back. 7 overs between them. 3 for 31. Robertson with 3 for 16, the standout bowler on show today. And at that stage, it looked like they had set up a really chaseable target for the Knights. Then the Knights came out to bat, and it was Ruan Pretorius at the top with Morgan topping. He was run out. An excellent piece of cricket from Modgill to throw to the striker's end. Maybe wasn't expected. He got topping for 1 then. LBW to hand for McCollum first ball, but it was Carmichael and Pretorius with their partnership that really looked to be setting it up. And the fight back from the Lightning as Sam Topping was bowled by Hoey, and the spinners came into action with Van der Merwe stumped for 1. Tyrone Cohen and Pretorius looked to be doing it for the Knights, but when Cohen was caught on the boundary by De Freitas, it could have been going for 6, but De Freitas took the catch, got rid of Cohen, and that just put the pressure onto the Knights. And when Pretorius lost his wicket, the batters at the end just couldn't get it done. They fall 1 run short on 141. The Lightning bowlers, Fionn Hand ends up with 3 wickets for 22. That 19th over proved absolutely crucial when he picked up those 2 wickets. But similar to the Knights, it was the spinners that really got the Lightning back into it. City and Hoey, 2 for 28 and 1 for 23. Throw in Dylan Lewis, 1 for 22, and 12 overs of spin there, going for around about 70 at less than a run a ball. So excellent from the spinners. So your match summary and what has been an absolute classic here at the Ward Stormont. The Lightning opening the batting there, 142 for 9. Monial Patel with 47. The Lightning defending 142 by just a single run. Pretorius with another half century, but it was Fionn Hand with 3 for 22. Sidhu for 2 for 28, and the Leinster Lightning have won by just that single run. A tremendous game here at the Ward Stormont. We hope you've enjoyed Super Tuesday with the Warriors and the Reds this morning, with the Warriors winning that game. But we'll be back here at the Ward Stormont tomorrow when we switch codes into the IP50, but it'll be the Knights and the Lightning once again. I'd love to have your company then. For now, from myself and James Cameron Dow from earlier, and a big thank you to Andrew Cowden who stepped in today. Hope you've enjoyed it, Andrew.
Thank you.
And we'll be back tomorrow for the Knights and the Lightning. Thanks to everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow. Yep.